sacrifices, but she's also, and her friend Denims, also made personal slights at my father. I don't enjoy this woman, not one bit. I think she's an absolute piece of shit, and she's a liar and a manipulator, and I will be here to correct any misinformation she has. Boys, I see y'all already doing a great job of giving this video 12,000 dislikes in less than a day, so let's hear it out, Jabba the Hutt.
Hi, my name is Frogan, and this is the first time I'm ever making a solo YouTube video about,
and hopefully the last time,
everything that has happened the last year and a half. I address everything on my podcast, Arabs, which you can find the link below, but today it's just going to be you and I. I think the content cop is great. You know, I feel like Ian approached it in a way that nobody else does.
Yeah, you want to know why you loved Ian's content cop, Frogan? You want to know why you, Hassan, and Denims loved his content cop? Because everybody watching that video knows you helped him write it. It is so blatantly obvious that anyone with eyes can see how much y'all's biases were brought forth in that video, that anybody with room temperature IQ or above could tell that was 1,000,000% overly negative bias by y'all's presence.
He approached it with empathy, and, you know, it was supposed to make people feel bad for Ethan.
Shut the fuck up, man. The only thing people feel bad for is your fucking scale every single time you step on it.
One of the main things, especially as content creators, people tend to dehumanize us and forget that we're living normal people just like you.
No, Frogan, we don't remember that you're a real human being. That's not what's happening. That's not the word. Oh, we're not remembering that we're real. The thing is, we're remembering that you're a stupid piece of shit. And that's pretty much it.
So obviously, with so much pressure on the internet, both on myself, and I'm sure Ethan can relate to this too, it's fucking hell. It's hard to manage, it's hard to deal with. So I feel like...
Guys, we weren't trying to attack him and humiliate him with our Fortnite L-dance emotes behind him. We were trying to help him. Shut the fuck up.
Ian approached it in a way that was more so holding a friend accountable and in a softer way, and wanted to generate empathy for Ethan.
Yeah, bro. Make a 1.5-hour YouTube video calling the guy crazy, leaving out the fact that he had Child Protective Services called on his kids and 2 human skulls sent to his house representing someone wanting to murder his children. Rather than meet up in real life and send it a DM, I gotta make a 1.5-hour video. Yeah, bro, true.
Other people don't do that. And I've even said this before, I feel like we need to stick to the basics as to why Ethan Klein deserves to be criticized, and that is for being pro-Israel and trying to deplatform pro-Palestinian content creators. I think it's insane to involve his children and anybody else that really doesn't deserve the criticism. I think Kayla deserves the criticism as well too, because she says some batshit crazy things on the podcast as well. And I've said this, and I'll...
Like, let me ask you a question, guys, and hopefully this makes sense. There's content creator friends, and then there's real friends. Ian and Ethan were real friends. Do you want to know why I've made videos criticizing Mr. Pokey before? It's because our relationship is very surface level. It is, right? We've hung out once, and I do like him a lot. There's a reason why I do make some videos that are pretty critical of him. Do you want to know why I've never made a video on Anna, Sophia, Shinya, Leroux, Zizix, or Colin? Because I'll just go talk with them. I'll just go DM them. I'll go to their fucking house. Ian and Ethan were on the levels of me and Shinya, right? And the fact that he made a 1.5-hour video attempting to character assassinate him is fucking insane.
I'll say it again. If you're spewing...
Yeah, they were friends for 6 years. They went to each other's weddings, right? This is why this shit is pathetic.
Pro-Israel propaganda, I'm going to call you out about it. I received a text asking to say something nice about Ethan, and to be honest, I thought about it long and hard because I was like, this man does not deserve anything nice from me. But I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. Maybe it'll give me some closure. So I wrote a letter to Ethan, and I read it off, and iDubbbz put it in the video, and this was Ethan's reaction to the video.
I bet you would.
I will be reading my letter off because I don't want to sound robotic. H3 used to be the sports figure that I used to watch. I hope that one day gets back to what I remember. You were one of the inspirations for me to start creating content, so all this has stunk. I hope you really hear this, and I wish you the best.
Listen,
Thank you.
Rogan, she's so dumb that you almost can't be even mad at her.
She
Like,
did wish us the best.
She is. I want to also remind you that all of this good-heartedness is put at the end of the video where nobody is going to see, so that way they can character assassinate them for an hour and then say, yeah, but the part at the end was so wholesome. Shut the fuck up. Can you limit the amount of time you show her face? I'm sorry, guys. We'll censor it next time.
In the end, it almost felt like the nicest one of them
I
all.
think she was the only one being genuine,
Yeah.
actually. So I don't want to, whatever, just Frogan, just chill, okay? Just stop being an idiot and I'll stop talking about you. It's really simple math.
She's also by far the smallest.
That also is a big issue, right? Like, Frogan and Denims are just so fucking dumb that they really think that anybody actually gives a fuck about their opinion. You want to know why Frogan and Denims, who have the exact same content, one gets 200 viewers and the other one gets 4,000? It's because one is fat and ugly as fuck, and the other girl has tricked herself into thinking that people are actually watching her for her opinion, when in reality they're just jerking off. And that's the big discrepancy between the two, is that they're actually both equally as fucking stupid, but one is even more dumb because the other one has convinced herself that she has an opinion worth hearing and that people actually give a fuck about her other than just a link in her fucking bio. Yeah, it's kind of pathetic, don't you think?
Creator of the bunch.
Right.
I mean, is it even like cool that he included her? Like, she's just gonna get more shit for being
It's not.
involved.
It's not cool.
And like, it's not. It's
He knows what like this entails. This part made me laugh because it was very tone deaf, and he's acting like half of his content nuke wasn't about me. Half of the content nuke, the entire ending half, was about me. So if I'm so irrelevant and so uncool to include, why the fuck am I in your goddamn video?
I'll be real, Frogan. The reason why people really like making fun of you, and I'll be real, I do it all the time. Anytime I say Frogan fat omega lol, I get like 5,000 tweets. Because even though you're so irrelevant, everybody loves shitting on you because it's so easy to make fun of you. It is. It's incredibly easy. Yeah, like your entire existence is kind of just like a joke. You are the lol cow of Twitter. You are the lol cow of the political scene. Nobody likes you, right? And I'm just being straight up. Like, I don't really care. I don't think about you at all. But like, I'll see your face pop up and I'm like, oh, post AI image of Frogan, call her fat, 3,000 likes. You want proof of that? Hold up. I went right here, right? Frogan, you didn't misspeak. You tripled down on that take like you tripled down your third Big Mac from McDonald's every breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 3,000 likes. I've even got a tweet of yours that has 20,000 likes, right? But you're so easy to make fun of, it's crazy, right? You want to know why? Because everything that I say is true, and that's why people like it. Yeah, it's really easy. Hopefully that makes sense.
Like, Hassan can handle it, but like, Frogan's now just gonna get a pile of shit on top of her that I have no control over because people are watching. Millions of people are watching his video, by the way, and they're reacting to it, and they're not having good reactions.
Not
to
just our audience.
it. Far from our own. Yeah.
I think it's funny that you think me being in the iDubbbz videos was going to cause this harassment. But in reality, it's you, Ethan. You're acting like you haven't spent the last year and a half doing everything in your power to push people to bully and harass me, including weaponizing propaganda organizations such as the ADL to get me...
Yeah, I'm gonna be real, Frogan. Like, I'm gonna make fun of you forever. I am, like, straight up. Like, I mean, the shit that you said to me and the disrespect that you showed our troops and the disrespect that you showed my father, all while living in this country that they all died and sacrificed for you to live comfortably, I will never forgive you. Ever. It's a disgusting thing to take that for granted. It's embarrassing. And here's the thing. All the things that you and Denims can make fun of me for aren't rooted in reality. And that's why they don't bother me. Right? I just like making fun of y'all because then I just get to farm W's. It's great. It really is. It's awesome. And then y'all can sit there and you can go in on my personal drama that you know isn't real to begin with and say, yeah, but isn't this the guy who did that? And that's pretty much it. You realize that you don't have any ammunition whatsoever other than the 40 chicken nuggets that you got in your back pocket that you're going to feed yourself for before you're doing your big belly slam. 40 damage, AoE on the fucking battlefield.
because I made a joke about you not being able to say Habibi. But no. It's iDubbbz, one of the only major creators besides his son who is actually defending.
Oh, by the way, I know a big spoiler to this video, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. We're about to catch this bitch in 4K. Just like she catches chicken nuggets in her... never mind.
Me publicly in the last few months. This next section is about the double standards of Ethan's thinking. Let's get started with this clip.
Personally, though, and I've seen Hassan do this before, is he's accused me of it. he goes, oh, you just hate Muslims. It's like, bro, can you actually please just respond?
Oh, by the way, I have no dog in this race. I don't give a fuck about Ethan. I don't give a fuck about Ian. I don't give a fuck about Hassan. I don't give a fuck about any of them. Right? I just like when something's wrong, I call it out. When something's true, I reinforce it. It's really that easy.
To a real
if you don't feel bad for Ethan and his kids and the shit he's going through, you're just a sick human
argument.
being.
Like, please, bro. You know, he just like, you can't just sweep everything away by saying that. It's just not right. Are people very cruel to her? Yeah, for sure. You know, it's just, I don't know, man.
Happy
I don't know how to
Friday,
explain this to you,
Techie.
Ethan, because this is something you claim all the time, but some people are actually racist. Ethan claims people are mean to him all the time because they're racist, using his religion as a shield of criticism, as he claims people are doing to me. A lot of the comments I get are about me being a hijabi and me being Muslim, so no. People are not more charitable to me because I'm with hijab, and I wish that was...
Yeah, I'm gonna be real. Like, I just make fun of you because you're fat. Yeah, I don't really care. I don't even know what you are, to be honest. I thought you were white. I have no fucking idea. Like, I got no idea. Like, what are you? I don't know. I'm just saying you're fat. That's it.
Is the case.
Yeah, just fat and dumb.
They accuse me of doing it. They go, oh, Ethan's just targeting Arab and Muslim creators. It's like, I have never one time mentioned her hijabi or brought anyone's fucking identity into my criticism of them.
You haven't said anything about me being Muslim directly, but your ideas about Muslims are pretty obvious from what you say. Here are a few of many examples.
Why don't you just make it easier? Why don't you just fly to
So she's trying to make Ethan Islamophobic because she's calling out Frogan for being stupid? Okay. This sounds like a typical Hassan strat where you attempt to paint someone and character assassinate them and say, oh, this guy who came at me, isn't this guy a sex pest? Isn't this guy a racist? Isn't this guy a transphobe? Like, brother, like, what the fuck? What are you talking about?
ISIS and do them a favor and just let them, you know, just serve yourself on a platter for them because you deserve it. Like, I think per capita, a lot of the weird fucking terrorism and crimes and shit, I mean, there's definitely some strong thread of violence through the Muslim community. Yeah. Or Arab Muslims, to be more specific.
Or
The next thing I want to bring up are the double standards both Ethan and Hila have for themselves. Let's get started with this clip.
We misspoke. It didn't sound good. We immediately corrected ourselves. You know, that...
Guys, is it racist to say raw statistical data? Like, is it racist or no? Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, once again, I got no idea what Muslims do, but like for example, like let's say there's like 4 races in America, right? And let's say one of them's black, and let's say black people make up like 5% of the whole population, and let's say they do like 400% of the fucking crime. Now, if you're quoting that raw statistical data, then does that make you a racist? No, I don't really think so. Like, if those are the facts, once again, those numbers are just being spitballed. I got no fucking idea. I could have said the same thing for Mexican. I could have said the same thing for American, right? I mean, I even said 400%. You know, that's not even fucking possible, right? But like, if Ethan is quoting raw statistical data, it's not racist. Once again, I got no dog in the Islamophobic bullshit. I got no idea about Muslims whatsoever. I don't really think about any of that shit. I don't really care. I'm just here to correct a very important bit that's coming up.
That's how mature people do. That's how how you're supposed to handle yourself, isn't it? What more do you want me to do?
I have no problem apologizing and admitting and whatever is needed when things happen.
This was in response to people bringing up how Hila said Yoav Gallant was a great guy, even though he's literally a war criminal and pro-genocide. I'm a live streamer as well. I know being live for hours and hours on end, you can misspeak, and that is exactly what happened whenever I said the thing about the U.S. military.
God damn it.
No, no, no! And here's why I'm here. No, you didn't. Hey, no, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I said it in a way in which I didn't mean, and I also clarified it on Twitter by saying the U.S. military has conducted some of the most horrific...
No, 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 Frogan. You meant it. And not only did you double down, you tripled down. And I am here to correct that wrong.
I have no pity at all for any fucking soldiers. Distress, thank you so much. I will never have any fucking pity for any fucking soldiers. The U.S. military? Who fucking who? I hope you get PTSD.
That is a real quote. You want to tell me that's a misspeak? Well,
Any other motherfucker,
here's your reaction to the same clip.
any other motherfucker, you're joining them. You're like, oh my god, I want my fucking Camaro, no student loans. Fuck you. I hope you get PTSD. And I hope you get no health insurance when you get back into the fucking America.
Go ahead.
And they posted it in my head. I'm like, base? Base?
You said based to your own fucking clip, not once, but twice. Did you misspeak 3 times consecutively? No, Frogan. You're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. You're a fucking liar. And you live in your own rose-tinted glasses of who you are. However, the rest of the world is not going to fall for this revisionist history you are so desperately trying to push, you fat, disgusting bitch. Not only are you ugly on the outside, you are ugly on the inside, and you should be fucking ashamed. Thank God no man is ever gonna have to see that shit.
Crimes against humanity in the
The only thing that sees the inside of you is the McDonald's Big Mac.
modern era in countries such as Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Lebanon, and Palestine. My anger is directed at individuals who are currently championing these war crimes as if they liberated my people. It's horrific and disgusting. The beginning of the clip was worded poorly, and I do apologize.
Yeah, just because you lied in one tweet doesn't make up for it. It's really easy.
At all.
I want to explain it because people bring it up non-stop. I apologize for it right away when Ethan made a video to address this on his Ethan Klein channel.
That's like Kanye West going live on Twitter and saying, yeah, guys, I may have been talking about the death of Jews and me being a Nazi for 4 years, but if you check in 2025, I just tweeted out that I'm not racist. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's my tweet saying I'm not racist. So, guys, I'm not racist. Harder, better, faster, stronger. Nothing gonna kill me. Like, shut the fuck up, bro. Is Techno an Ethan advocate? I don't give a fuck about anybody, bro. I'm just an advocate of the truth. That's it, man.
Next day.
Made a quick appearance in that video just to say, I'm sorry, I misspoke. I shouldn't have called him a really good guy. Like, I don't know why I said it like that.
What more do you want from me? I did the same exact thing. Now we're moving on to the infamous...
Yeah, but she didn't double and then triple down. That way it's a lot more believable. Hope this helps.
button. So during the react to the content cop, AB started talking and the button was pushed. Here's the clip.
Authorities block healthcare to Gaza. Again, I'm not. Do you think that I'm talking about walking around Gaza? When I say how great multicultural it is,
We
did you
never
think that?
how Israel attacked Gaza since October 7th, not even once. We never
I think that's
co-signed what they did.
Is that not the point he's making though?
What?
That you're that you're talking about how nice Israel is, but
Israel proper is different from Gaza.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Millions
right now, say.
Muslims in
I
Israel.
guess that's where the
Cool, get on with it.
And that's the end of the clip because the button was pushed. Anytime any member of the crew gives Ethan any type of pushback, the button is pushed. And he wants to say that I'm surrounded by yes men and people can never criticize me when he doesn't allow his staff that are part of the show to give him any critique or pushback whatsoever.
Great, you're both pieces of shit. I don't really care. I don't know why people always say, yeah, well, I'm a piece of shit, but you're a piece of shit too. It's like, okay, great, you're both garbage. The fuck? Who cares?
During the live show today, some of the crew defended me, and I appreciate it so much. And during this episode, AB mentioned that the most recent time we talked, him and I had a disagreement.
People are saying stop being friends with her. You guys don't know fucking shit. I have not talked to her in forever, and the last time we did talk, we had a disagreement. Like where is this coming from? Like I don't understand. That is.
This disagreement was a DM I sent him, which stated, "Hey AB, I wanted to reach out privately because responding publicly and adding to the dog pile doesn't feel right. I understand that people are off the job market, and I get that working for Ethan puts you in a complicated position."
Okay, I'm gonna be real. I can't handle hearing this stupid fat bitch's voice anymore. Anyways, moral of the story of this video. Sorry you guys had to see all that. Yeah, this bitch is a unlikable piece of shit. Hope this helps. Good lord, what the fuck?
Need a few frames? Adobe Premiere Pro is here to fix that. Extend clips to keep the action moving. Layer in missing ambient sound. Accelerate your editing with Generative Extend.
Alright, what else can I watch? It's Morgan. Oh. I thought I was done. Shit.
I don't know all the ins and outs and the details, but I'm just telling you that I know that it is.
You said your brother has
You
type 2
have-
diabetes, right? So there could be another world with
I
no
don't wanna
ACA
talk
where his
about my-
feet
I
are
wanna
falling
talk
off
about
and you don't
this.
give about it. You're not even thinking about it because you're obsessed about trans surgeries in California. What the wrong with you?
Do you honestly believe that COVID was what they said it was?
A pandemic that killed more than a million
virus?
Americans? Yes.
Well, it's funny we didn't have any flu that year.
Why do you
did
think we
have
didn't have?
flu.
No, no,
I
no,
got
no,
the
no,
flu.
wait. Why do you think we didn't have much flu that year? Nobody should trust you when you talk about restricting the vote because that's all you want to do is keep people from voting when you don't.
Did Trump lose the 2020 election?
No, he did not. I don't have evidence. I do believe that there is a global cabal that is running this country and running many other Western countries. I also believe.
I assume that you're supporting Donald Trump, and so
Well,
could you talk a little bit about the election and who you prefer and
sure.
why?
Well, look, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that free speech is the cornerstone of our democracy. My parents left communism, and the first thing that communists or fascists, though there are not as many fascists as there used to be, I think the only places where there is fascism is in parts of Africa and in certain countries in Asia where they've had coups. And the fact is, free speech is the antidote to all tyranny. And then
Can you give me just real quick? So wait. If free speech is the major concern that you have, when Donald Trump makes statements like the press is the enemy of the people, do these
absolutely they are the enemy of the people because they all censor on both sides.
If you think the press is the enemy of the people, when you say free speech, what are you talking about?
All right. That's a great question. And here's it's simple. Both sides censor the inconvenient narrative or news that they have on either side. If you listen to Fox News or Newsmax or One American News Network, you're going to get the side that makes the right look better.
Well, hold on. I'm not talking about like individual. I'm just saying from an administrative point of view. What did Biden's administration do to like censor free speech?
Thank you for saying that. Twitter files. We had two former Democrats by the name of Michael Schellenberger and Matt Taibbi from the Rolling Stones. They were both voted for Biden.
Yep. So, I don't need the background. So on the Twitter files, so I read these. What part of that behavior was censorship to you?
That's a great question again. Who is this that I'm speaking to?
This is Destiny.
Somebody who's probably going to disagree with every single thing you're about to say. So
wow, that's great.
We know about the Twitter files.
I want to follow you because I respect what your question. Your line of questioning is very valid and logical.
We're trying to get to the point. Like
Hi, I'm Andy Levian, General Counsel at the DNC. We just sued President Trump and Doge, and I hope you will support us by donating to
Iron Bar.
Here's what you need to know. Trump signed an executive order to impose radical changes on how Americans register to vote, cast a ballot, and participate in our democracy. all of which threaten to disenfranchise lawful voters, and none of which is legal. It makes it harder for married women who've changed their names to register to vote and forces states to throw out lawful mail ballots. If states don't comply, they could lose federal funding. And somehow, as we've come to expect from this administration, it gets even worse. The executive order also gives DOJ access to the data of millions of voters, sensitive personal information handed over to Elon Musk, an unelected billionaire. The threat is real. After floating a third term, Trump and Musk are taking steps to rig our elections. That's why the DNC filed a lawsuit to stop them. We're already suing to block Trump's hostile takeover of the Federal Election Commission, and now we're gearing up for yet another legal battle that will shape the future of our country. Winning these is not easy, especially when your opponents are the president and the richest man in the world. So we're relying on a surge of grassroots support right now to help us put an end to these illegal power grabs. I hope you're with us. Thank you.
I switched from due dates to due dates, and it made me go from weeks behind to weeks ahead of my deadlines. You see, I used to just bedrot all day getting nothing done. And you know that feeling of anxiety where ticking off items on your daily chores and to-do list is quite overwhelming? That was me. That was until I was told about this one secret. You see, it's called time blocking, and it changed my life. There are loads of articles and studies about how it's such an effective productivity hack, and tons of CEOs and high achievers swear by it. So here's how I use time blocking to go from weeks behind to weeks ahead of my deadlines. So I just spend a few minutes typing down everything that I want to get done this week. Then I add my deadlines. After that, Motion creates the perfect time block schedule automatically. By the first day of using it, I was able to just wake up, look at my schedule.
What is the wait? What is the wait? What in the Twitter files? Yeah, what in the Twitter files do you feel like was censorship?
Here are the answers. During COVID, and during the Hunter Biden laptop situation, what happened is that the government told Mark Zuckerberg and, in this case, Ken Dorsey, who was in charge of Twitter before Elon Musk bought it, to censor certain sides of the argument because they knew better. And now
real quick. So for the Twitter files, right? There, we saw those emails, we saw their deliberations. There was never an explicit demand from anybody to say you have to censor this, right?
Really? So when Anthony Blinken had his chain letter with the 51 people from the military, from the intel, a month before it was the last debate.
Yeah. Wait, real quick. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. So if they were telling them to censor it, the letter that you're describing wouldn't exist. They would have just told them, hey, censor it. There would be no reason to release a letter like that publicly, right?
No, that was a PR campaign to convince the voters to vote for it.
Why would they have to do a PR campaign for anything, though? Why wouldn't they just secretly tell them?
Because the voters, the useful fools, will listen to what they think is an authoritative, group of people who led our intel services. I mean,
they have a right to free speech too, right? They have a right to free speech. You agree?
That is not free speech because
it's not free speech for these people. These are former intel officials, right?
It is not.
They're former, right? They're
not free speech to lie when you. It is not free speech to lie. It is not free speech to lie in front of a nation in a debate where it is. It turned out to be the complete opposite. The conspiratorial narrative turned out to be the truth, and now we have two convictions against Hunter Biden. Am I wrong about that?
Wait, real quick. Yeah, the Hunter Biden stuff has literally nothing to do with anything. Okay, but just on the Twitter stuff. Okay, there was none of the Twitter people said, and when you were reading their deliberations about like the laptop story, for instance, there was nothing in there about them saying we have to do this, or the FBI is going to come down on us, or the government's going to come down on us, or we feel a lot of pressure, right?
Look,
Twitter wait. Twitter was deliberately, like in their own communications, trying to figure out what the right thing to do with the story was, right? And it was legitimately a hard question. Do you acknowledge that, or do you think that this is a super easy thing?
That's a disingenuous statement on your part.
What's a disingenuous statement?
By presumption, if you have the former CIA director, John Brennan, the former head of intelligence, Clapper, they do get, and Adam Schiff, who had the evidence to prove that Trump wasn't just an unhinged person. I'll give you that he was unhinged, and he has a different
This is
mentality
wait. Go
about the world.
hold on.
He thinks
Go back.
that,
I don't care. I
that
don't
the
care. I
important
don't care about this. Go back. I'm just saying
Russia.
that. No, go back. I'm just saying that when the Twitter files leaked and we saw their internal communications, none of that was a reference to anything in the government. It seemed like they legitimately didn't know what to do with that New York Post story. And can you acknowledge that legitimately it's probably a tough call to make?
Okay, give me a second.
Yeah, I just want to say,
I'm running out. You make a great
take your
point.
time,
I'm
take your
running
time.
out of battery, and I'm going to lose you
Okay.
if I don't get a cord. Have someone else speak, and I'll come back in.
Yeah, we will, and we have Matt here who's waiting. So, well, I'll get to Matt in a second. I just want to put out there a couple of facts. Fact number one: Matt Taibbi in the Twitter files, in the very first Twitter file, says there is no evidence of government involvement in the censorship of the laptop story. Number two: the laptop story was censored and then uncensored prior to the 51 former Intel officials releasing their letter. That's just a matter of record. And so it can't be the case that this open letter, which was published after the decision was made, is influencing the letter. That's how linear time works. And so on all accounts, your own people that you're citing, Matt Taibbi himself says there is no evidence of government efforts involvement in the censorship of the laptop story. So you're wrong, sir.
I am not wrong about this. The fact is, the Mueller investigation was a farce. $25 million was spent on a false...
We're not talking about Mueller. We're not talking about Mueller.
No, it's the same thing.
We're not talking about Mueller, sir.
Wait, hold on, wait. When you jump around on topics, it makes it sound like you're not able to ground the one topic. So just very specifically.
All right, I'm going to ground the wrong topic.
Wait. Just very specifically on the Twitter thing. Do you acknowledge that in the email leaks, at the very least, there was no explicit or direct pressure ever mentioned about the government, right? Do you
I completely disagree. That's why I went all the way to the Supreme Court, and they then eventually ruled 5-4.
Okay, hold on. Wait. For the Twitter files, then, what part of their communications did they ever reference the government?
All right, here's the simple one. They took people out like Alex Berenson, okay, and Mercury. What's his name? Hold
on, I'm sorry. Wait. Can you repeat the question I just asked you?
Okay, here's the beauty.
Wait,
because
are you human? Wait, am I speaking to an AI? Wait, are you real?
I am real.
What is the weather? Wait. What is the weather outside right now?
The weather is beautiful. I'm in Maryland, and our trees are just
You hear? Okay, you're a real person. You heard the weather. Okay, what I'm asking you in the Twitter files, okay, for the New York Post story, what was the reference that was ever made to government pressure?
The fact was that people that we're supposed to trust to protect us lied on a letter.
Wait. Do you acknowledge that you just wait? Do you understand the question I'm asking you?
Okay, repeat. I'm sorry.
I'm just asking you in the New York Post story that was censored for a day on Twitter. When the Twitter files came out, and we saw those email deliberations. They didn't make any reference at all to any kind of government intrusion at all, right?
Of course, because when somebody lies, they keep it as a secret to fool the useful fools.
Wait. So do you think
they're getting good information?
So then are you saying that when Twitter was deliberating internally about what to do with the story, they were lying to themselves?
I'm not blaming Jack Dorsey, but am I living in delusion, or did Mark Zuckerberg?
Wait, I can't. Why are you bringing wait, stop. I can't tell if you're. I truly right now I don't know if you're like schizophrenic. Okay, I'm just trying to have a very
I'm faster than the next person, and I'm very grounded.
I'm asking you. Yeah. No. It's not about slowing down. Okay, it's about jumping to totally disconnected topics. Okay, like you're having an episode. All right.
No, I'm not having an episode. I'm smarter than that.
Okay. Wait, that's fine. Okay, you can't outsmart schizophrenia.
I won't be manipulated.
Okay, I'm not manipulating you. I'm asking you really simple questions. Okay.
All right, I'll listen.
Yeah. Okay. It's not okay. It's just a very simple question. Okay. In the Twitter files, then the emails leaked. Okay, or they came out because of the investigations by Taibbi.
No, they came out because this guy by the name of Elon Musk spent $42 million to show the corruptness.
Sure. Okay. That's fine. Okay, but
no, wait. That's not fine.
No, you're doing it again. You're doing it again. You're having an episode.
That's the only reason we know, and don't talk down to me.
I'm asking you very simply.
I could just get out of this.
I'm asking you very simply. I'm asking you so simply. In the emails that leaked, there were no references whatsoever to government pressure.
Absolutely not. And you know what? Here, can you give me?
No, you're about to ramble again. No, wait. Can you give me an example? What was the government pressure that they mentioned when it came to the New York Post story?
Actually told X, or in this case Twitter, and Facebook, who they should censor and shadow ban and complete individuals.
You know that Matt Taibbi himself, I'm pretty sure we can maybe even still find the tweets. Matt Taibbi himself said that there was not a single reference in the New York Post story about them ever saying that the government pressured them to do it. I think there might even be, somebody can find the tweet. I think there's a specific tweet where he says that, right?
I don't live in delusion. I put together pieces of a puzzle.
Wait, why are you rambling again right now? Wait, why are you rambling? You're having an episode. I'm not talking about Mark Zuckerberg. I'm not talking about Zuckerberg. I'm not talking about Zuckerberg.
I'm not rambling.
You are having an episode. You're having an episode. You're having an episode. You're having an episode. You can't follow. No, I'm not listening to you right now. You're having.
Then screw you, because you don't want the truth come out.
Goodbye.
You don't want the truth come out.
It's not. It's just I can't. I don't know if you're legitimately schizophrenic, sir. I'm sorry. I don't know.
You just can't think as fast.
Hey,
it's not about thinking fast. It's that I think you. I don't know if you're experiencing mental illness or if this is deliberate propaganda or if you're an AI.
You can't think as fast as me. Now, can you let me?
So I found the tweet by Taibbi, if you want.
I removed the dude. Sorry, but you can link the tweet if you want.
So number 22 in the thread. Was, although several sources recalled hearing about a general warning from federal law enforcement that summer about possible foreign hacks, there's no evidence that I've seen of any government involvement in the laptop story. In fact, that might have been
the problem. Yeah.
Oof. Crazy.
That's the guy that, by the way, just to be clear, that guy who was not answering Steven's questions, that's the guy he's citing. The guy he's citing is saying it's a problem they weren't more involved, because what they were asking for, absurdly, and it's a total double standard whenever it's on the other shoe, is for the FBI to like comment on the
man
of purported leaks, which they didn't even have access to that program. They had a different laptop. So yes, completely wrong, completely fake news you just heard.
Okay, hey, I got a few things to that I'd like to talk about, and I've made a lot of notes. So we're here to talk about Obama versus Kamala, correct? Is that what we're doing?
You mean Trump versus Kamala, right?
Obama.
I mean Trump. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Trump versus Kamala.
Trump versus Kamala. Okay, so some of the things that I wanted to talk about was California. I think it's somebody in California or a city or something, a county. I don't know. Anyway, they were trying to clean up their voter rolls, and so they're being sued because they're cleaning up their voter rolls. So what's the deal with that? And they're being sued by Newsom. Okay, I think you're right. So Newsom is suing because they're cleaning up their voter rolls.
I don't know anything about California. I know Virginia is being sued by the Department of Justice because they're quote unquote cleaning out their voter rolls 90 days before an election, which I think is in violation of the law.
Well, I think they've been doing that for over a year. So
looking at the California one, let's focus on California. You brought up California, okay? So this lawsuit was filed by the Judicial Watch and the Libertarian Party of California. What is your issue with this lawsuit?
Well, I'm just saying I mean, I don't even know all the ins and outs. I'm just saying they are suing because somebody is cleaning up their voter rolls, and they're cleaning up their voter rolls, and they're saying, hey, you know, these people should not be allowed to vote. I mean, I don't see why there should be a problem with that.
Well, okay, but wait, but it's a lawsuit. It's a lawsuit
by Judicial Watch.
By Judicial Watch and by the Libertarian Party of California, right?
It's by people who support Trump.
So it's somebody on the liberal side that doesn't think they should be able to.
No. This is right wingers. Judicial Watch is right wingers.
Also, libertarian.
Oh, okay.
Libertarian is not liberal.
Okay, well, whatever.
Also,
I'm not up on all those terms, and I'm just kind of voicing my opinion here, and I've got a ton of other things. Okay.
I can't. I'm an American. I need to find a
The
country.
low cost of insulin earlier when I first got on.
I need to start country shopping. We'll do that after the election. We need a country shop, guys. I need to get the here.
Started on Trump's last session, so he started that. Yes,
no,
he did.
With all due
So
respect,
you might want to go back and look.
So
Okay, my brother is on insulin, and I know.
I understand.
So,
I understand. So wait a
but
minute.
Anyway, he got it started.
Whoa. You offered this, and I'm fact checking you. So just breathe a second.
Okay.
So under Trump, there's an executive order for a voluntary program in Medicare Part D.
Correct. Okay. Right. I agree with that. Yeah.
Right. Well, hang on. So what President Biden and Vice President Harris have done is expanded for Medicare as a whole, not one part and not voluntary.
Okay.
It's covering
well, that's fine.
infinitely more
I understand
people.
that, but it starts somewhere, and it started on Trump's session.
No, well, hang on. It's not a.
But anyway, that's okay.
Well, it's not
Whether
a
it was an idea, or whether it got started, or whether it started investigating, or whatever. But anyway,
Do you support
I just
it?
wanted to-
Wait. Yeah, do you support it? And will you give Biden and Harris credit for it, given that they've done much more than Trump to expand insulin at $35?
Well, he did that at the very end of his session. So, yes, I definitely give them credit for carrying that on.
Okay. I mean,
No, hold on. No. They didn't carry it on. They massively expanded it.
Yeah, that's.
Well,
so
but I'm saying it was investigated. He's
Oh, who disconnected?
investigating it at the end of his session, and then they took it on. So anyway, I don't want to waste any more time on that.
Sure. Wait. But just to be clear, so we're all under the same. So you agree that the Biden and Harris administration expanded it significantly, right?
I agree that they did expand that, yes.
Okay.
And that's good that they did do that. But they also killed a lot of other things.
Like what?
But anyway,
Wait. Killed a lot of. Wait. As part of the healthcare
I
stuff?
don't want to go there. So I want to
Wait. As part of the healthcare stuff?
I want to talk about in California.
Wait. As part of the healthcare stuff?
What?
What did they
Wait,
kill?
you said they killed a bunch of other stuff. What do you killed a bunch of other what?
Yeah, they did. They killed a bunch of other deals that Trump had going. So I'm not going to argue. I've listened to you argue at a lot of people, and I'm not going to argue. I just want to get my points across.
All right, let's give her the space. Give her the space. Yeah, get your point.
Well, wait a minute.
Okay.
Well, hang on. Wait, Pisco. If she's just here just to speak at us and not engage, what the?
No. I want to engage. I want to know your. I want to know.
No, she's gonna engage. She's gonna engage.
I just don't want to spend my whole
she wants to finish
on one
her list. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So.
Okay. Give your list and we'll try to address it. Okay.
I agree. Biden-Harris, as far as I know, they have expanded.
Get ready for Universal Epic Universe, featuring Super Nintendo World and How to Train Your Dragon Isle of Berg. Opens May 22nd at Universal Orlando Resort. Tickets and packages on sale now at universalorlando.com.
On the insulin deal. That's fine, and that's great. Okay. But I do know that initiative started on the Trump administration. Anyway, okay, so now in California, there is a murderer that was in prison that was in prison for killing somebody, a murder. And Kamala was, I don't know what she was, if she was the prosecutor, whatever. But anyway, she got a law changed that allowed that transgender person to have a sex change surgery. Okay, and she got that law changed in California. Now, is that true?
I have no idea.
Shouldn't you
How
know?
important is this? Is this like an important thing for the?
So this is all
future
over
of
the
the country.
news, and you don't know about that?
It is what I can't think of very few things that I care less about than if a transgender prisoner got a whatever, like they're.
I don't think me as a taxpayer should have to pay for a transgender surgery.
Are you? I'm sorry. Are you in
As a
California? I'm
murderer
sorry. Hold on. Are you in
prison.
California?
No, I'm not in California.
Wait. Then what does that have to do with you? It's in California.
Well, if Kamala gets the presidency, it'll probably be everywhere.
Is that how the state laws work? Or all of the state laws are going to change because the president?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know about all that. I'm just. That's just. That is my. I have that question. I mean, I'm asking you that question, and if you don't know about it, then you can answer my question.
Well, I don't think that the president can make all the states pay for transgender operations in prisons.
Well, I mean, I know that if she gets in, then she can, she can get things on their way. But anyway,
What do you think is more important? Do you think like the major tax cuts for the rich that occurred under Donald Trump that were way more money of the federal budget? Like, do you think that is more of a risk to the American people's financial health?
I mean, I don't think
or the
that
threat
I
of
don't think that
transgender
we know
surgery?
enough about tax cuts for the rich to even go there.
We know how much they we know how much they cost. They cost billions of dollars.
The economy is bad. Millions of illegals have come in. Everybody knows the economy is bad. Crime is bad.
In what ways is the economy bad?
Well, I don't know all the ins and outs and the details, but I'm just telling you that I know that it is. When I go to the store and I pay
How do you know the
$4 for
economy's
a
bad
dozen
then?
of eggs, then I know that that's too much. You also talked about oil production, and you talked about oil production being more, but there's also thing, and I don't say that I know everything about it, but the oil production it may be more, but are we not paying overseas for oil? And is our reserve not the lowest?
Okay, we need to take this one by one. Actually,
Wait, we don't have, hold on, wait, hold on. I just a quick question. Do you give credit to Obama for the pre-existing condition part of the ACA, of the Affordable Care Act?
Say that again.
I'm not going to say that I give him credit for that, because I'll tell you what, my whole entire life I have paid for insurance, and I've barely used insurance.
That's great.
Now
You said you're. Did you say you're?
Now I'm to the point to where I am retired, and I have to use insurance.
Okay, but you said
And
did you
now I'm
say
on
your
the-
brother? Did you say your brother had type 2 diabetes?
Yes.
Okay, you don't think that the pre-existing part of the Democrats' Obama's Affordable Care Act, you don't think that mattered at all?
Well, I'm telling you that I'm paying for that Affordable Care Act right now.
It's not about
through my
paying. It's about
state.
whether or not an insurance company can basically say, sorry, you've got diabetes. We're not going to cover you.
I've never had an insurance
That's
company
wrong,
tell
right?
me that.
They shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Well, no.
I've never had
That's
insurance.
you
I've
have
never
no. I'm
had-
not asking about you. You brought up your brother. You said he had type 2 diabetes.
Well, I don't want to get off on some other tangent. That's,
Okay, do you understand that do you understand that you're like an evil, selfish piece of shit? You said that your brother has type 2 diabetes and you don't give a other people that suffer with diabetes?
So you are the piece of shit.
No,
because
you
don't
are
wanna
literally
listen.
a piece of shit. You said your brother has
You
type 2
have-
diabetes, right? So there could be another world with
I
no
don't wanna
ACA
talk
where his
about my-
feet
I
are
wanna
falling
talk
off
about
and you
the
don't give a about it. You're not even thinking about it because you're obsessed about trans surgeries in California. What the is wrong with you?
Yeah, so if you don't agree with you, then you're kicked off. So you kick my ass off.
No one's talking about
No, you're
kicking
not
off. I'm
being
just
kicked
saying.
off.
I'm just
Just
pointing
don't
out that you're an idiot and you're evil. I don't understand how you
No,
can't
you're
acknowledge.
an idiot and you're
How can you
evil.
not acknowledge that the
I'm not
pre-existing
agreeing,
condition
and I don't wanna
exemption?
talk about
How
what
can you
you
not
wanna talk
acknowledge?
about, so
You're the
now
one that
you're
brought it
gonna
up.
call
With
me
all
an
due
evil
respect,
bitch or
ma'am,
whatever.
honey, you're the one that brought it up. You said that your brother has type 2 diabetes. You said no, sweetheart. We'll sit here and talk. No, that's all right. That's all right, sweetheart. We'll sit here and talk. You said your brother has type 2 diabetes, and I'm asking you if it's nice because of Obama's Affordable Care Act that he can go and get insurance in another place and not get denied for having a pre-existing condition.
I was never denied for a pre-existing.
Are you the brother? Are you the transgender? Did you get your chopped off? What, 8 years ago? 6 years ago?
So why are you changing everything around?
I'm
It's
not changing anything around. It sounds like you had a significant change, ma'am.
No, sounds like you have. I mean, you don't want to stick to my questions. You want to go off on something
You brought
else.
up that your brother had type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I didn't even tell you type 2. You said that.
If it's type 1, it only helps my argument even more. You said your brother had diabetes and he needed insulin. I'm asking you
I
if you were
didn't even
grateful.
Say that. I said that my brother was a diabetic and that he knew about that. I didn't say anything else about it.
I'm
So
sorry.
you
I
have
thought you
brought
were bringing
all of
up
that
the plan,
into
the
equation.
Medicare Part D. Oh, I'm sorry. Is he a diabetic? He doesn't take insulin?
I don't care. So you don't want to talk about the economy? Is that what the deal
We're
is?
not, you didn't want to talk about the economy. You wanted to talk about trans
No, I did wanna
Californian
talk about
prisons.
how I just paid $4 for a dozen of eggs, and you think the economy's not bad.
Oh, okay. Well,
Also
I'm sorry.
wanted
You
to
said that
talk
you're
about the oil
retiring now.
production,
What are
and
you
you don't
paying
wanna
for?
talk
What are you
about
paying
the
for
oil
those dozens of eggs for? With the Social Security that Republicans want to cut?
What about credit cards being the highest that people have ever used credit cards in our history?
Do you
What about
support do you
people
support
using
do
all
you
their
support
401k?
do you support cutting Social Security?
No, absolutely not. And Trump is not going to do that. So why do you act like he is?
Who do you think has talked more about cutting Social Security benefits, Republicans or Democrats? Who's talked about privatizing it more?
I think Democrats have talked more about Trump cutting Social Security.
Well, I don't even know what that was an answer to, but okay.
Yeah. Okay. So have more people dipped into their 401k than ever before? Are people dipping into their 401k just to survive today?
I don't know if they are, but if they are, do you acknowledge that the stock market is higher today than it ever has been?
Well, do you watch the money people saying that because of all the crypto and because of all that and all the AI, that's why the stock market's so high?
Did you know that crypto and AI is predominantly worked on by trans women in San Francisco?
Well, I could care less what trans women do. If that's what they want to do, that's fine.
Cool.
But I don't want my kids learning about it in school.
About cryptocurrency or trans women?
Trans women.
What state did you say you're from again? Oh, okay. Well, it sounds like from the state you are from, your kids don't learn much at all in school, so you'll be okay.
There you go. Assuming a bunch of bullshit again. Okay, so do you agree that people are using credit cards more? It's actually the highest in our history.
Sounds like a bunch of cool shit to
Because
buy.
they can't, they're using those to survive today because they can't survive because of the economy. Is our tax dollars paying for these illegals that are coming over? There's so much information out there about these illegals that are being paid to come in, that they're given money, that they're given places to stay, that they're given. I mean, I have actually been beside someone that had a card that they walked in and got money off of that card.
Wow.
And so are our tax dollars being paid for these illegals that are coming in?
I hope so.
Is the crime in Aurora, Springfield, Indiana, Texas, all these other places? Is that crime really happening, or is that in everybody's imagination?
No, I think it's really happening for sure. And you know it's happening
Yeah.
because you see it on Twitter headlines every single day for sure. Yes, absolutely really happening.
Well, no, I see real people talking about it.
Yeah, on
So-
Twitter. Yes, I'm sure you do.
So why is that crime happening?
I don't know. Probably.
People do crime. I mean, like, you're acting as though Biden or Kamala Harris are encouraging or supporting
So the
crime,
border
or are
being
not,
wide
or are
open-
not enforcing.
The border being wide open has nothing to do
When you say
with
the
our
border's
crime
open,
rate.
what do you mean, ma'am?
She means illegal immigrants are coming to California prisons to get free transgender surgery so they can
What
go
do you
eat
mean by the
dogs in
border is
Springfield,
open?
Ohio.
Yeah, you're a real smart ass.
Ma'am, what do you mean by the border's open?
Do what?
What do you mean when you say the border's open? What
Well,
do
I
those
mean,
words
any and everybody's coming over. Anybody and everybody.
Does the fact that people are coming over mean the border is open?
The fact that people who are good people could come over would
That's
be
not
great.
what I asked, ma'am.
But
I asked
we have too many illegals that are criminals.
Was the border open under Donald Trump's watch?
The border was open. Well, it wasn't open. I mean, but you could come in.
Okay, so the border's been
legally.
open
Under
for
Trump,
all
it
of
was like
US
the screen
history.
door was open. Now it's like the screen door and the front door are open.
Okay.
Ma'am, under your definition,
Look,
the word
you can-
border is
you
open.
can-
No, let's
You can
listen.
spin it
listen to this
however
one
you
point.
want.
No.
If this is a,
Hang on,
if this
ma'am.
is a spin session, then I
Ma'am.
won't be back.
No.
You know,
listen.
you said you wanted
it's a very
conversation.
simple.
That's not what you want.
It's a very simple point. This is the point. If what you're saying is the border has been open for all of U.S. history, then it's not really significant to say the border's open because you're saying
Okay,
no
then
more, no
we've
less.
had more criminals come over in the past 3.5 years. How's that?
We've had more people come over the past 3 years, but again, just because something has happened doesn't mean that
Okay.
it's because Biden or Harris are encouraging it. And in fact, Biden and
Well,
Harris.
they are encouraging it. It didn't
How
happen
so,
the 4
ma'am?
years before.
But
It didn't happen the 4 years before them.
You had thousands and thousands of people coming over
It
under
didn't
Trump.
happen. It didn't happen during Obama.
There were thousands and thousands of people coming under
There
Obama. What are
was
you talking about?
thousands and thousands, but there wasn't millions, and there wasn't a ton of them criminals.
We've
Murderers.
had millions of illegal immigrants for years.
If they're illegal immigrants and
right?
they're coming over through a wide open border, how do we know how many murderers are coming over?
You're starting the issue. That's fine.
Wait, I'm just curious. How do we know how many murderers are coming over if the border is wide open and they're coming illegally?
That's fine. That's fine. You're starting the issue. That's okay.
No,
You're
I'm just
treating me
asking.
like you
I'm
treated the
not,
person,
sweetheart. I'm
the
just
guy
asking.
talking in
Excuse me,
Massachusetts.
sweetheart. I'm just asking.
You acting
How
like
do
you
you know
didn't
who a
wanna
border?
understand,
How do you
and that's
know? How do you know who a murderer is if they're coming over illegally through an open border?
Well, that is what the Border Patrol is supposed to do. And
Is
because
this-
there's so many coming through, they can't do their job.
Wait,
So
no,
that's
I'm just.
exactly-
No, you didn't answer the question. I'm asking you. Can you please answer, sweetheart? Okay. How do you know if somebody's coming over? How do you know they're a murderer if they're coming over through an open, unregulated border?
Well, it's open and unregulated. How do we know?
That's what I'm asking
Then we
you.
wouldn't know.
Well, okay. I mean, that's why we have
you're
all these
saying it.
people
Wait, but you're
that
the
are
one
not
that you
doing
Right,
said
what
it.
he's getting at is you are claiming you are
Okay, you're just mincing words.
You are
Everybody
claiming by
else on this
definition-
session
No, not at
knows
all.
what I'm saying. There's too many illegal people coming across the border. Too
So did you
many of
support
them
the
are
border bill?
murderers.
Did you support the border
It's
bill?
great if people want to come over.
Did you support
fine.
the
Let them
bipartisan
come
border bill?
over. Let them join our great.
Did you support the bill?
America.
Did you support the immigration bill that was bipartisan in nature, was proposed by James Langford and supported by the Border Patrol? Did you support that bill?
No, I did
Why,
not.
why not?
I didn't see the bill. They didn't all see the bill.
They did see the bill. They
They
tried
did
to
see
vote
the
on it, and
bill.
Donald Trump told them not to.
No, and you don't know that.
Bless your
We
heart.
do know that.
No, you don't.
Okay. Well,
We know that because
Okay,
we know that because
somebody talked
Republicans have
about.
said that.
Somebody talked about.
So hang on, ma'am. No. This. You said you wanted a dialogue. It seems like you're very selective about when you want a dialogue.
I'm not the one calling people names, and I'm not the one talking over.
I haven't called you a name either, but hang on. So we know that Trump killed the bipartisan border bill because Republican politicians aligned with Trump admitted it. Lindsey Graham, who is a Trump supporter, admitted it.
Well, that's
Mitch
fine.
McConnell.
I don't trust all of them either, especially McConnell.
Do you trust Trump?
Yes, I do. I mean,
Yeah,
not
he
100%. Not
acknowledged it.
100%. No, I haven't trusted any of them 100%. So no.
Nor should you. So wait, if you don't trust Trump, then why are you supporting Trump?
Because Trump, I feel, is the lesser of two evils, and I've been there under Trump. I know what he did. I know what my life was like.
Wait, really? Did you see him do it?
What did Trump do?
Well, I know my money went further under Trump, and I know that there was a lot of lies told. I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs about COVID and all that bull crap, but I do know that here we are, how many years later, and he's still being blamed for all that when all that was Democrats. What about all the Russia stuff?
What do you mean?
None of that turned out to be true. What about all this stuff?
Wait, ma'am, don't filibust. You said he was blamed for all of it, but it was all because of Democrats. What do you mean all of it? And
Well,
what was all Democrats?
Do you honestly believe that COVID was what they said it was?
A pandemic that killed more than a million Americans? Yes.
Well, it's funny, we didn't have any flu that year.
Why do you think we didn't have? No, wait. Why do you think we didn't have much flu that year?
Well, that's their reporting.
Well, wait. Isn't
CDC.
that because we were social distancing and masking and cutting down a lot on contact socially? Isn't that why
Yeah.
flu infections fell a lot?
Okay, that's fine.
That's fine.
We'll just agree to disagree.
What are we agreeing to disagree on? No, wait. What are we agreeing to disagree on? What are we agreeing to disagree on?
Okay.
What-
So anyway, there's a couple other
Wait.
issues
What
on
part
here.
of what I just said? What part of what I just said
What
is not
about,
true? What part of what I
about
just said
Walsh
is
and all
not
the
true?
lies?
What part of what I
about
just
Walsh
said?
and all the lies
What
that
part?
he's told?
I'm curious. Okay. Have you ever hurt yourself running into the padded walls at full speed, or what do? Do you just sit around in there all day drooling on yourself, or what? What?
What about this? What about the student loans? Why should I pay for someone's student loan?
So that somebody can take care of you, okay, when they got to come and give you your medication, okay, when you're rolling around in your padded cell all day. What?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I'm glad all your listeners are hearing all this.
Me too.
BS.
Yeah. All the listeners in here and all the ones in your head, apparently.
Yeah.
What's happening is it's actually disrespectful for us trying to engage with the points that you're stating, right? You're stating things.
She's not here to engage with the point. She's here to just repeat what she read off the last Facebook post. This person is lost to reality.
Yeah, I was talking to her. Sorry. Yeah, but
Okay.
you have to if you're trying.
I'm really tired of your
All right.
parsing.
It's
and
okay.
carrying
Don't
on.
worry. Sean Hannity's broadcasting tomorrow. They're all here.
See you later.
Yep, they're all here. Yeah, good luck.
Hey there. I just wanted to come on and let U.S. woman know, and maybe you guys, if you don't already know, Judicial Watch, the Libertarian Party, are actually suing California to clean up their voter rolls, not because voter rolls are being cleaned up.
Yeah.
So this is a lawsuit that is like trying to demand, hey, you follow the laws and clean up your damn voter rolls. And so I just wanted to make sure that there was no confusion on that.
Yeah, I think that it's like, if people want the law to be enforced, like I'll have to look at the individual case to assess whether I think it's in good faith or bad faith or whatever. Based on Judicial Watch's track record, I don't typically like the lawsuits they bring up. I think they're often frivolous. But to be clear, I don't, in principle, have a problem with someone with standing suing to make sure the law is being enforced, whether it's for getting rid of people on ballots or putting people on ballots on. If it's enforcing the law and upholding the right to vote, that's fine. And I think that we shouldn't read into that illegality is happening. And so I don't think that we can read from that lawsuit that therefore illegal immigrants are voting, which I think is kind of the flavor of why that was being brought up.
Well, I missed that part. But I mean, I live in California, so I'm
You like
aware
it?
of. I'm here for the weather. We'll just say that.
No, but do you like living in California?
Do I like California politics? Absolutely not. I'm grounded here. I was born here. I was raised here. All my family's here. And I'm going to stay here and try to fight for some change here. But with that being said, you know, they mass mail out of ballots, and it's insane. You can get on the website and register to vote, and you can actually check boxes that say I don't have an ID, I don't have a social security number, and continue. And I'm not trying to claim here that this means that illegals are voting or this is happening or this is happening. I'm on here saying this is it looks shady, it smells shady.
Can I ask? Wait. Can I listen? You're gonna find more agreement with me on this. Can I ask you one question? Okay, because listen. All right, Europeans. A lot of these people use ID to vote. Okay, a lot of people look at our voting stuff and they say, "Wow, America, you can vote in elections with no ID. That's kind of fucking weird." Okay, I agree with you. Why are you not inflamed that Republicans don't just say, "Hey, listen, this is what we want to do. We're going to spend this much money and we're going to create a federal identification program so every single person in the United States with a social security number is entitled to a federal ID." I feel like if you do that, boom. All of the arguments for, well, I don't want voter ID because black people can't get IDs and blah, blah, blah. I feel like all those arguments disappear. Why don't Republicans just suggest this?
I don't know why. I don't like Republicans either. I don't trust
appreciate
them.
that, but the point is like there are barriers to getting some of these IDs 100%. Not every American citizen, I have to tell you, necessarily has a social security number, so there could be good reasons why.
Well, hold careful with that, right? Shouldn't they might not have access to it, but if by definition, doesn't a U.S. citizen have a social security number?
There are some ongoing exclusions that persist. I think like Mennonites or whoever the groups are that are excluded. There's certain people who have like kind of grandfathered policies. I think that's true. But if there's even one category of U.S. citizen who's entitled to vote who doesn't have a social security number, then you would agree that that field should be there, right, ma'am?
So I don't think I followed what you're saying. I apologize.
So you were saying that it was shady to have kind of a drop-down menu where you could pick either you don't have a social security number or you do have a social security number, right? You said that looked a little shady. That's what I thought you said.
It's shady that you can check those boxes and still continue on to register. Yes, absolutely.
Well, there's two legitimate reasons why that could be there. One is it could be weeding non-citizens out, right? It could be a way for, just like, for example, there are. Remember
I agree with you.
When Hunter Biden filled out the form and wrote that he wasn't a drug addict, one of the reasons is we do those things is to weed certain people out, right? And the other reason is there could be a category of U.S. citizen that actually legitimately doesn't have a social security number because they're under some grandfathered policy or some exception under the Social Security Act. So that could be a reason.
What percentage of people would you say that is, if you had to take a guess?
So for example, there are, it's probably a small amount of people, right? But if it's even any person, they need to have an ability to vote. Fair? Because they have a right to vote. It's like
you have the right to vote. They're a U.S. citizen, yeah.
So there's certain religious groups that don't believe in these kinds of plans because they don't believe in the government, and they've been grandfathered in, like certain Amish groups, communities.
Right.
So but they're American citizens, right?
Yeah.
So they should have the right to vote. So if there's any kind of U.S. citizen who legitimately doesn't have a social security number, then they have to have that field available, or it makes sense to have that field available, or as just an internal check to make sure, hey, these people don't have social security numbers. Let's see what's going on here. And let's see if we can verify if they're actually U.S. citizens. So those could be two legitimate reasons why it would not be sketchy to have an option for I don't have a social security number. Or it could just be they don't know it, right? There could be people who don't know their social security number.
Who the hell doesn't know their social security number?
People whose parents had, who never gave them their card, never gave them the number. It's possible.
It is very possible, especially with the younger generation. But anyways, no, my whole point to that is that it doesn't give a good feel, you know. It doesn't give a good feel that there's integrity here.
Wait, I agree. Wait. What about our feelings? Okay, because listen.
What about your feeling?
When somebody, here's what I'm saying. Okay, when Donald Trump spoke about mail-in ballots for 1 year, he talked about how insecure they were or unsecure they were. I didn't hear a single suggestion for how to improve them, just to get rid of them. Don't you think that when people listen to rhetoric like that, they think, wow,
oh my God,
this guy doesn't seem like he wants to make voting more secure. Seems like he just wants to keep people that he doesn't like from voting. Don't you think that's a valid feeling to have?
I mean, any feeling that you feel is a valid feeling to have. Do I agree with that? No, not at all.
Wait. Why is that not why is that not something that like a reasonable person could say, oh, kind of feels like this person just wants people not to vote?
I think that he just wants the states to stop mass mailing out of unsolicited ballots. That's what I think.
Wait, if I could verify 100% that the ballot was being mailed to a U.S. citizen with a social security number and everything else, would that be okay to mail the ballot out?
No.
Why?
Not if it's unsolicited, then no. I believe that you need to request your ballot.
Wait, why should you have to request it over making it unsolicited? Why?
Because you need to request a ballot. You got to want to vote or
Why?
work to vote. Like I don't want 8 ballots on some kids. And I apologize. I don't mean to cuss.
You can cuss as much as you want.
Like to go to one house and now all the wife or the husband is filling out all 8 of those ballots and people are just signing off on that.
Hold on,
like
wait,
I think
but
that
can't they could do that if they can do that if can't they do that if they request them?
Yeah, but you just have to go through that process.
No, I'm saying can't the exact same problem that you just brought up, couldn't that happen if people request the ballots?
And I believe it could. It absolutely could.
So then what you just said makes no sense. It doesn't prevent anything. So why does it matter?
It makes complete sense because right now they're mailing out millions of unsolicited ballots to people that would never vote in the first place. And now those ballots are being filled out by people other than themselves, even though they might be signing off on them, which is perfectly legit. These are people that never would have voted. Like, I don't want those people voting. I don't want people going down and going,
okay, there it is. That's fine. I
Yeah,
got
there it
you.
is.
Okay.
I don't want-
Okay,
I
yes,
don't
you
want-
don't want them voting because they would vote contrary to your interests. That's just say that next time. Don't waste our time. Just say, I don't want these motherfuckers voting. What you just said is why nobody trusts you, and nobody should trust you. Nobody should trust you when you talk about restricting the vote because that's all you want to do is keep people from voting when you don't vote. That's it. That's great. Thank you.
Guess what?
Thank you. Yeah.
You're rude as hell. I can't believe how you talk to that woman.
True. Yeah,
You're
true.
fucking
And
rude
I
as
talk
hell,
to you as
dude.
well. You. I'm so glad you're in a blue state. Oh God. Oh, your state is so blue. I'm gonna go with 20 California voters tomorrow. I'm gonna show them how to request a fucking. Oh yes.
Request a ballot, dumbass. In California, it's automatically fucking mailed to
Oh,
them.
then I'll
That's
just
my
go to
point.
their house and fill it out for them. I'm gonna run through all the apartment buildings. I'm gonna wait for the USPS guy to come in. I'm gonna say, oh, is that ballot for Pedro? And I'm gonna oh, that's my friend. I'm gonna fill it all out for him. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Oh my God. All those votes for Kamala. Oh my God. Yes. I'm gonna go to the most Republican apartments ever. I'm gonna find all the ones with the Trump flags, and I'm gonna take all the ballots and fill them out.
But Natalie, I mean, about the actual substantive point here, right? So Stephen just said, isn't that revealing of your hand if it's the case that what you're saying is I don't want low information voters to vote? That's what you said, right? That sounds like your policy goals with quote unquote ballot integrity have more to do with the composition of eligible voter as opposed to whether or not they're eligible. Did that make sense what I just said?
It makes complete sense.
Okay.
It's not exactly where I stand. I truly believe, like, I want to go back to pre-2018 in California. Like, I don't even actually think that you need to have an ID. I think you need to walk into your polling place, and I'm fully amenable to having some early voting at the same time. You know, open it up to like a week of voting. But you got to walk in, you go up, tell them who you are, they check your address, they check you off, you sign the thing, you vote.
What about
I would love to have that.
overseas uniformed
They may
military?
request an absentee ballot, which has always been available.
So you're okay with mail-in voting so long as it's requested?
Correct.
Okay. I mean, if that's the case, then you're okay with mail-in voting.
Well, I'm actually, I should revise that slightly. I'm okay with them requesting a ballot for good reason, you know? And I don't think
There
their
it is.
reason should be that they have to be overseas, or maybe they're disabled and can't get to the polling, or maybe they're older and can't
You
stand
can't,
in line.
the disabled
or
thing
whatever.
isn't fair because then MAGA would have a huge advantage in mail-in voting because they're all retarded.
Whoa, Stephen. We're trying to have good dialogue here, Stephen.
My bad. I thought I was muted for that one.
Natalie, I'm sorry about that.
No worries. I kind of expected it listening to this thing, so.
How does it make you feel when people say things like that to you?
People would say whatever the hell they want to me. I am a very hard shell. I don't really get offended.
Well, that's good because I think that there's a substantive point there as well, I have to say, which is like, is it up to us to decide who are good voters and who are bad voters? Shouldn't the whole like kind of structure here be about letting people do what they're going to do? Isn't that democracy?
So I'm not saying good voters versus bad voters. I'm saying uninformed voters, people that just go in and check the boxes. And if they want to make an effort to go down and register and then go to their polling place and check whatever box, A, B, C, D, and whatever, then that's fine. You know, at least they've
I think
done
there's
that.
some common ground here. I think there's some common ground. So here's my common ground. I also subjectively don't want ill-informed people to vote in terms of my subjective want and desire. I don't want people to like just randomly select things. I want people to be informed voters. That said, I wouldn't trust the government to decide who is informed and who is not informed, right? If you don't trust these government actors to like enforce good principles on who's informed and who's not informed, like why would you want them in charge of policies where it could skew to your detriment, right? So wouldn't it make sense to just have a policy that is neutral to whether you're informed or not informed, and just tries to enable and encourage voting in a way that's accessible to most people?
So I don't understand where you're picking up on what I'm saying, that I think the government chooses, good versus bad or informed versus uninformed voters. I don't know where you're getting
because
that
you're saying
from.
that the policy rationale for not wanting unsolicited mail-in ballots has to do with a preference on whether a voter is quote informed or uninformed. That seems to be what you're suggesting. That the policy itself, that the justification for it would be based in some preference for informed voters as opposed to uninformed voters.
Right, but that's only a piece of it.
Oh, what's the other piece?
The fact that it can have all kinds of fraud.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just not trustworthy, in my opinion. It's not trustworthy to mail out a bunch of ballots. Like it doesn't. It's not trustworthy. It takes away public trust, and that's obvious. It's obvious that happens based on what we've seen, right?
Did Trump lose the 2020 election?
No, he did not.
He won it?
Well, technically, yes, he did, because Biden's president.
Because Biden what?
Because Biden is president. So technically, yes, he lost the 2020 election.
No, who was the actual winner of the electoral vote? In terms of who should have won it based on if it were fairly counted?
Trump, in my belief.
And what's your evidence of that?
I don't have evidence of that other than everything that I saw while I was watching that election go down in real time. And my heart of hearts, that's what I believed. If I had proof, then I would take it to the court. I don't, but that is my heart of hearts. And so that's not something. I appreciate
your honesty. I just think that's. Imagine if someone were to say that to you, like, I think Trump lost 2016 in my heart of hearts. How would you accept that?
Well, I would accept that that's what they think. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm accepting that's what you think, but would you think that that's a good thing, a good disposition to have?
Hillary Clinton had it. She still does.
True.
Okay, well, is there any last comment you want to give Natalie? I do appreciate. I think there's some honesty here, and that's something that I appreciate.
Well, yeah. Also, I'm just curious on all the issues that you'd be looking at for this upcoming election. How big of an issue would you rank like chemtrails?
You've been looking at my profile.
Yep.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
So, yes, I do believe that solar radiation is happening. They're spraying us like bugs, and I do believe that there is a global cabal that is running this country and running many other Western countries. I also believe that if you look at all the Western countries, the same issues are all happening. Mass invasion of migrants, just all the same issues, and it's all because they've fallen in with the WEF and the One World Order folks, and Bill Gates wants us all dead. So yeah.
True. I think one of the things that irritates me the most is because the United States, we're already allied with Israel. They already do leaflets. We already do like all these mail-out ballots, and we already have chemtrails. Why can't the planes, as they're driving the chemicals, just drop mail-in ballots at the same time and at least save some money?
You know what?
Hey.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Natalie. Pretty shocking end there. Or
really, you're shocked that you're shocked that the person that is that they. Sorry.
I mean, exciting end. I don't know what to say, actually. I mean, that's
what do you mean you don't know what to say? It's a person who doesn't want people to vote because they don't want the wrong types of people to vote, right? They say, also, I know you know this, I'm sorry. When I'm talking at, if anybody's listening, when I'm talking at Pisco, Pisco's a very, very, very smart person, okay? So when I say like, Pisco, you do know this, right? I'm really saying it to the audience. I'm not saying it to Pisco. Pisco knows this, right? Okay, so Pisco, you do know that this lady, okay, when she says things like, this is, mail-in ballots are bad because they're not, because they're unrequested, right? That if that never existed and it was just requested mail-in ballots, they would say the same thing, right? Oh, yeah. Anybody could be requesting these ballots. You don't know what's real or not, right? It's always going to move down to the next thing. The idea that if
pretty much said as much, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Paul, we have Paul, who is who's the most important issue is the border person. Politics is my bag, baby, but I love entertainment as well. And amateur fact checker. Why are you voting for Trump based on domestic policy?
Yeah, thanks. Sorry, I was playing with my kid for a little bit, so I didn't hear the last lady.
It's okay.
But it seems like she attempted to argue a little bit about the border, but
a little bit.
I was listening. Yeah, I was listening earlier because yes, for me it is the most important issue. I mean, there's many obviously, but you know, we have to look back at my main issue with Kamala Harris and the whole Biden administration and how they ran the last 4 years was they didn't have to, and on day one, they reversed all 94 of the executive decisions that were put in place to protect us at the border that Donald Trump had placed in. And they did it without a plan. So when they did that, the border is basically based off of two main issues for me. One of them is humanitarian and the other one is national security. By allowing everyone to come in the influx that they did, and we have record amounts of illegal immigration in our country, we can't even actually figure it out.
Can I pause real quick just to make sure I understand? When you say allowing people in, can you explain what you mean, the audience, what you mean by that?
Well, that's obviously an opinion because they didn't just say, hey, come on in. I mean, it's, you know, we could play words all day here.
I'm literally just asking what you mean by that. Are you saying that they loosened like the standard for what to apply for asylum? Or are you saying they physically let these people in? What are you saying?
Yes, and you know, from where I stand, they basically allowed these people in because by removing the 94 executive orders placed by Trump without any plan in action, basically they just started processing people at a pace that's been unheard of in our history in terms of illegal immigration.
Let's
and now
I think that's very productive and useful to talk about, and I'm glad you brought it up. I don't think that Trump's executive actions encompass, or the ones that they got rid of at the start of the administration, encompass immigration law. The Immigration and Nationality Act is still in force. People who cross the border illegally without inspection and admission are still inadmissible to the country. They still have, you know, they're subject to the same kind of restrictions before. There are still removal proceedings going on. Everything about the structure of our immigration system is primarily statutory in nature, or at least the kind of outer shell of it, which is untouched, and the sort of long-standing regulations of the DHS, those are untouched as well. And so, like, what basis do we have to say that they're letting these people in? They're deporting them. They're making them inadmissible. They even enforced Title 42 for a very long time during the administration. So what do you actually mean when you say that? Like just getting rid of some executive orders that they don't agree with, or they think are illegal, or that they think that is not fruitful to like the Mexican-American negotiations and diplomacy. That's not letting people in.
Yeah, but you know, when you remove Remain in Mexico and the stuff that was there to basically detain people, we were promoting people to where you needed to apply for asylum in another country before you applied into ours. There was stepstones that were placed that were to deter the rate of which people were coming in, and the numbers are there's really no argument here in terms of the level and numbers of illegal immigration that was occurring during the Trump administration and where we got to in the levels with the Biden-Harris administration. I mean, we're talking anywhere between 2 to 2.5 million known immigrants come in, and you know that doesn't even include unknown gotaways. So yes, the estimates are out there in the 15 to 20 million range over the last 4 years.
So you're stressing the numbers, but Remain in Mexico is the policy you cited. That's a couple tens of thousands of people at its height.
Sure,
that wasn't preventing all this.
Well, no, this is a combination of you have to remember, I even remember when the caravan started, the minute that we found out that Biden was elected.
Well, to be clear, the caravans have been happening for decades. Like, if you've watched
Well, they have been happening for decades, but again, we're talking about the level and scope of the level that it's at right now. Illegal immigration's been a problem since day one. I'm not going to argue with that. Obviously, during the Trump administration, it had its issues as well.
Wow, Nimrod, thanks for the 50 gifted subs.
To get to the levels that we're at, I mean, we had 10 to 11 illegal immigrants in our country total before. We have doubled that amount in 4 years, and it's not because.
Would you agree that illegal immigration right now is a big problem in the United States?
I think it's the number one problem in the United States. Yes.
Okay, number one problem. Okay, I'm just curious. Do you say what state you live in?
California.
Okay, you're in California. You believe that illegal immigration, is the number one issue in the United States. Were you incredibly upset then when Donald Trump torpedoed the immigration bill, the border bill that Biden tried to pass through Congress, that had support until Donald Trump pulled the plug on it?
No, there's very good reasons why that bill was torpedoed, including it was mostly pork in that bill. If it was like a single issue,
Well, so initially
they
they were passing it with like the Ukraine aid and stuff, but then they tried to pass it on its own, and it still
They
failed.
tried to pass it independently. So
And it
what
still
about the
failed.
immigration bill that would you consider to be?
No.
pork?
Even forget that you might not have considered it good or pork or whatever. Do you think we would have been better or worse after the immigration bill when it came to immigration? Because you said that the border was the most important thing.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't think it would have made much of a difference because the writing in the bill said that we could have up to 5,000 to 8,000 immigrants per day, not including women and children.
Wait a second. So why did the Border Patrol say it would be very significant and it would help them a lot? Are they lying?
No. Border Patrol.
They endorsed Trump, so are they lying when they said that the bill would have helped?
No, Border Patrol did sign off on the bill because the idea of getting more Border Patrol agents is always a good idea.
To help
but Border
enforce the
Patrol,
law, right? They're not.
Yes, but Border Patrol agents aren't also reading all the fine print that's being put in that law. Like I
so
said,
they're retarded. They're stupid.
They were stupid when they stupidly.
I didn't
signed
say
off?
they were stupid. Border Patrol's job is to secure the borders, not to read laws that are
so
being
why
pushed
wouldn't
by
you
Congress.
defer to them if what you're saying is you immigration is your biggest issue, and if you think the Border Patrol has a good set of head on their shoulders, why wouldn't you defer to them when they're saying that this would help border security and not hurt it?
Well, it wouldn't help border security. If I can finish my point, this actually would have just left human trafficking at the level it's at. We're the #1 human trafficker in the world right now.
Okay,
Not
but
only
hold on.
that,
I
it's
don't know
pretty
why
much
you just
state
remember random
sponsored.
things. Wait, how many people do you think came in illegally last year?
Well, last year with my computer not in front of me, I'm going to say roughly around 2 million.
Okay, well, let's say that I assume it is an incorrect reading, but let's say that I grant you that the new bill said 5,000 could come in per day. That's less than 2 million. So wouldn't that already be an improvement?
No, like I said, it was the only way they would shut down the border is if we got to an average of 8,000 per day. Again, this is not including women and children, which are crossing the border as well. This is basically just men.
Yeah, this is to give emergency powers, right? This is what people don't understand. They're not letting these people in and making them not deportable or not admissible.
Also, that thing about women and children, that was a totally invented thing. I don't know where that came from.
Sure, but I just want to be clear about what the bill does. The bill is saying these are the amounts of illegal crossings that have to exist, and now the executive is going to have an awesome power. And what's this awesome power? The awesome power the executive is going to have that we don't want them to always have, we want them to only have it in times of emergencies, is to just throw people the fuck out of the country without any hearings. Okay?
Including asylum seekers. Zero can apply for asylum. Zero can come over for 2 weeks.
And just so the reason why it's important to have this be cabined in some way is because it is an awesome power to just summarily throw people out of the country. And there are reasons we have procedures, typically, even expedited procedures, to have these cases. Because a significant percentages of cases, I'm not going to tell you it's a majority, but at least 10-20% of these asylum cases are meritorious in the end, at least. Okay, and furthermore, there could be
what percentage?
Something in the realm of at least 10 to 20 of asylum claims are meritorious and succeed. Okay.
I would agree with that.
Okay, so something at a bare minimum there, and we even allow for different kinds of relief other than asylum that exists. The Convention Against Torture. There are other ways for people to seek immigration relief in this country that aren't asylum that they might be eligible for, notwithstanding. That's why we have procedures. Or, God forbid, there's a U.S. citizen that's caught in the midst. The reason why the power is limited to these numbers of crossings is because just throwing people out of the country without any procedures is a fucking awesome and dangerous power that we don't want to have just be in the hands of the executive the whole time. So when people say this was going to institutionalize 5,000 crossings a day, they're completely wrong. Those were the trigger events to wield, to unlock these awesome powers. That's why your reading is wrong. That's why
But guys, I don't think you're paying attention to reality, though. You're focusing way too much on the way things are written and not even looking at the actual problem. We have way more than 5,000 people crossing our border. Okay, we have more than if all right, if I'm trying to give you guys time to make your points. I love a little time here to make mine. There are way more than 5,000 people that are crossing our border every single day. Not to mention now they're not even reporting or including the numbers of people we are flying in. I know this firsthand because my family's directly involved with filtering some of the illegal immigrants that come from Nicaragua. So what happens is a country like Nicaragua will send 200 people that are supposedly political asylees. I'd say about 70 to 80 of them might have a legitimate case of being political asylum refugees that are trying to come over here. I know firsthand though, then they mix in about 120, 130 on these planes of either people that are coming in from Algeria, African countries, places that Nicaragua are allied with, or literally murderers and Sandinistas that are trying to be brought over here either as infiltrators or as just people they want to get out of their country. I know this because literally my family's involved with expelling and revealing those people and getting them out of our country. That's a small sample, and that's only Nicaragua.
Okay,
My
well,
point is
if that's the case, wouldn't we want more funding for more asylum judges so they could hear these claims like immediately instead of giving them a piece of paper and releasing them into our fucking country? Wouldn't it be great if they could just go and have their hearing like immediately?
However, Pisco, the problem with what you're saying is that the funding is not being used the way that you're hoping it is. We literally are giving this money to NGOs that are just fueling human trafficking at record levels.
Hang on, hang on. The vast majority of this money was going to go to DHS. That's why. That's your rationale for why the DHS supported it and why the Border Patrol supported it.
No, guys, no. Unfortunately, what you're overlooking is the fact is they're just going to process more people and set court dates that these people, or most of them, are never going to show up for. We literally have 325,000 missing children, which that's the official number, right? It's probably higher than that, over the last 4 years. We have a humanitarian crisis that is developed.
Isn't being able to schedule their deportation hearings sooner, isn't that better?
No, you know what isn't better is allowing an environment where the cartel, which was only making hundreds of millions during the Trump administration, is making 13.5 billion per year, estimated.
Wait, you just understand that what you just said was not responsive to what we're talking about, right?
Well, I told you that there's a two-front issue here, guys.
I'm asking you something very quick. So I just want to chart what you just said, right? Because I said something in response. I said, isn't it better to have these asylum hearings, these master calendar hearings, sooner rather than later so we can deport non-meritorious claims earlier? And what you said in response is, isn't it better for the cartel not to be making money? Do you understand why that's frustrating in a conversation?
I get it's a two-way frustration here. So yeah, to acknowledge your question, yeah, it would be great if we were to have a better system in terms of asylum courts and all that. The problem is
the bill.
Again, because the bill isn't a serious attempt to stop the flow of migration into our country. Remember this, guys.
The Border Patrol said it was.
Wait, so should we just eliminate the whole asylum process then?
We should have definitely put a halt to all immigration at our country, which the president has the power to do at any point that he seems fit. Now, if you want to change that,
I'm asking, do you think we should get rid of the entire asylum-seeking process?
Well, no, we are the land of immigrants. You definitely want to create a controlled, vetted way of bringing people in, because if you don't, we have two problems here. One is national security.
Yeah, we understand that. We agree with you. But I'm just asking, because it sounds like you're saying that any bill that you would pass that would give money to it is just going to be like used for other purposes or given NGOs anyway. So it sounds like it's like an unsolvable problem to you.
Well, no, if we keep allowing people to come in when we've already allowed the record amounts that we have,
I'm not saying this. Why are you reading a script? I'm saying if we want to give money to asylum court judges to process these claims, that seems like a good thing to do. But you're saying, no, we can't give them money with a bill because that money's they're just going to lie about where it's going?
Again, there's too much pork in that bill, guys. If you want to do a single issue bill, sure, I would support what you just said, but it wasn't a single issue bill. There's a lot of mistakes and errors that are in that bill the way it was written.
Every bill is not going to be perfect, but it would have made it better. You said that this was the most important issue. You said it was the most important issue, even if there was some pork in it.
It wouldn't have solved it. Dude, making it better and solving it are two different goals.
If it's the most important issue whatsoever, I'm sorry, if you are starving to death and somebody offers you 2 croissants, are you going to say, I can't accept this because it's not a full steak meal?
It would have put a slight Band-Aid on a big, gigantic.
Even if it was a slight Band-Aid, isn't that still better? When you get cut, do you know what a Band-Aid is for? If you get cut, isn't it better to have a Band-Aid than nothing?
The bill should have been debated and negotiated.
No one is saying that. It was debated and negotiated. It was through the House and the Senate. It's been for a long time. But wouldn't it have made it better? Isn't a Band-Aid better than nothing?
I don't believe there was a version that was presented without the money going to Ukraine and the other issues.
That is, you're wrong. Real quick, when you said that your family is involved in vetting these people, they don't work for the government, do they?
No, they do not.
They're fucking insane, aren't they? You guys are doing some wild fucking border shit, like some crazy white trash rednecks, aren't you?
Well, my mother's Nicaraguan, so that makes no sense.
So what do you mean by they're involved in vetting and doing crazy shit with immigrants? What are you talking? And they don't work for the government. They're not part of the government. Are they working for the NGOs that you say are stealing money?
There are NGOs that are stealing money. There are NGOs that are doing their job. Absolutely.
What is your family's position that they're vetting immigrants and stuff, but they don't work for the government?
No, we don't vet many. But my mother was directly working with members of Congress to look and investigate into people who snuck in through the asylum system.
Wait, is she a private investigator? Is she Death Note? What do you mean? What do you mean she was working with members of Congress?
That's funny. No, she started her own nonprofit organization that was to deal with bringing in people who were looking for political asylum from
So
the
just
country
to
of
be
Nicaragua.
clear, your complaint about the border bill is that money from the border bill might have gone to NGOs, while you're citing the fact that your mother is doing work as an NGO?
My mother didn't get any money from the government to do that. That was all volunteer work. She was recognized by her efforts and it was respected because she was doing good work, but that was volunteer. She didn't get paid for that.
Okay. I have no idea what the, yeah.
Yeah, but I just don't understand why, if the Border Patrol Union, which endorsed Trump, which hates Biden, which hates Kamala Harris, if they're saying this border bill would help us a lot, would help the situation a lot, such that we're going to actually endorse it, even though we hate these politicians, why doesn't that give you pause that maybe this would be better? And it sounds like when you say it's a Band-Aid, it sounds like you're acknowledging it would be better.
Guys, here's my issue. Since day one, they've had there's a law the president has had, which is Section 212F, right?
Yes, that's a suspension power. Okay, so that authority. I don't know if you're still here, but where is he?
I think he and his mom went to enforce border immigration stuff on other
Well, I
Nicaraguans
just
coming
want to
in.
put his name real quick. So the suspension power has never been interpreted to cancel out the right of people to seek asylum. Asylum is a statute, and what the suspension clause says is that you can make inadmissible certain categories of non-citizens, or it even says any category of alien. But it doesn't. It's never been interpreted to apply solely or to extend to asylum or asylees. And in fact, when Trump was instituting his country ban, the migrant ban, or whatever, the quote unquote Muslim ban, when he did that, they were careful to section out the asylee seekers. So just to be clear, that's not been tested, and it's not the case that we have on point precedent that says the suspension power allows a complete shutdown of the border.
Do you recognize this like the psychosis, the schizophrenic conversation thing where I want you to try to find out from me, Pisco. Try to find out what I had for dinner last night, okay?
You had
No, like ask me. Let's have a conversation. You want to know what I had for dinner last night? Yeah.
What did you have for dinner?
Okay, you know that Applebee's, okay, you know that they have like samplers and everything on Tuesday nights and stuff that are super discounted.
I know. I don't really. I'm just asking what you had for dinner, wherever.
So yeah, so last night, like it's very common at night that me and a lot of friends will do a whole bunch of different things. Sometimes we're not always spending money on food.
Steve, I'm trying to get. I just want to know what you had for dinner. Can you just answer that, please?
Yeah, so a lot of the times when people are going to restaurants, the servers, they don't actually pay attention to what you order, and they bring the wrong food to your table. I don't understand this like conversation pattern where you ask a question and then it's like they're reading a script. It's like the most AI programmed NPC bot like drone cult obsessed behavior. The one lady, not the one we just recently, not the chemtrail lady, but the one prior to the chemtrail lady, they do this thing where you ask a question like, well, don't you think this would have helped? And then they'll say, and then they just start rambling on some crazy shit like they're just reading a script of like what they got from their favorite, Facebook poster. It's insane.
Okay, we're coming into it.
Yeah, I got one more. Give me one more. I got it. Okay.
We got one
I'm
more.
losing my mind here.
This one might be a doctor, or maybe a boxing doctor. Boxing MD.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? So, just to start the premise, I am pro-choice, so let's not even get into abortion, okay? So I'm pro-choice. I don't watch Fox News. I'm extremely pragmatic in my approach to Trump because it is arguing with Trump supporters on why Kamala Harris would be better than Trump. So you don't have to give oral sex to Trump to vote for him. I'm just letting people know that, right? Because I guess a lot of these people are big fans of Trump. I don't think the election was stolen. Destiny, I think Ashley Babbitt got street justice, okay? These are things that I all feel because I'm a law and order individual. I'm a big fan of the institutions and strength, right? I get it. Trump didn't win the election. These are all things that I agree on. But what matters to me, like the guy said earlier, and also just to play devil's advocate, if the Republicans rejected the bill, then why the fuck would they support Trump now? Maybe they looked at the bill and realized that the bill wouldn't have helped them because you could easily play that Pisco. You know what I mean?
Well, wait, hold on, wait. Just to be clear on the border bill, they did support the bill, but then Trump said don't support the bill because if the border gets fixed during the election season, then Trump would be hurt.
No, but they're endorsing him now. So why would they endorse him?
Why would they endorse who?
Because if they don't, they lose their careers.
Yeah, they have to endorse Trump. It's a cult party.
Okay. Oh, that's your answer. Instead of that, he would maybe be better for them. Okay.
No. Wait. Hold on. Do you acknowledge that every single politician in the Republican Party that's gone against Donald Trump, Trump will try to career assassinate them?
Governors.
Destiny, say that again.
Do you acknowledge that Donald Trump will aggressively go after your career if you don't play ball with him? If you're a Republican?
Why didn't he endorse Kamala?
Do you acknowledge that Donald Trump will aggressively go after your career if you're a Republican and you don't play ball with him?
I don't. Is the border?
Are you said you're a doctor? Can you not understand? Is it English second language or fourth language? Or I don't understand how the question I'm asking is so complicated.
They're nonpartisan. What are you talking about?
What?
What are you talking about?
Oh my God! Wait! I'm so sorry. Hold on. My bad. Stop. We had a disagreement. I'm sorry. I insulted you. Hold on. He's talking about the union. I think we were talking about lawmakers in Congress.
Yeah, we're talking about lawmakers in Congress. That's what you said.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right?
No, I was talking. No, I never said lawmakers in Congress. I said
we messed up. Sorry, dude.
Miscommunication.
All right.
Pisco, stop being so mean. Go ahead.
All right, let's move forward. I don't care about being mean. I don't care. Anyways, so the things that matter in immigration, legal and illegal, right? I mean, it's a fact there's an exponential increase in immigration. I understand that bill would have helped. They sat by for 4 years and waited. I get it. Politics are played. Would it have helped to see hair? Maybe. But at the end of the day, there is an exponential increase in legal and illegal immigration.
Would it have helped though? Would you agree it would have helped?
I think it might have helped. So small in a sense that it would have potentially given Democrats the ability to then win the election and then make it worse. I mean, politics exists, guys. Like, let's not act like it doesn't.
Well, hold on.
Yeah,
Can I just offer this up, and then you guys don't have to vote. You guys can vote to destroy the country, whatever the fuck you want. But if you're ever bored on your own, you know what Google should. Okay? Can I just offer this up as an opinion, and then you can go read about it and fact check it later. Okay? The United States of America does not have a problem with illegal immigration, okay? We do not have a problem right now in the USA of illegal immigrants. We have a problem with the on-the-books legal asylum-seeking process. That's the issue. It's not a matter of having a secure border. It's not a matter of enforcing the law. It's not a matter of letting people in who aren't supposed to be here. It's that people have, right now in the United States, federally protected rights to seek asylum in a way that's probably excessive, and we don't have the money to deal with all of these people coming in and making these claims. Do you agree with that, or do you completely and totally disagree with that?
No, I mean, there's points. I think there's both. I think two things could be correct at once. Like, I don't think that I'm aware of the percentage of people that are caught on the border versus people that hop on an airplane that come over that oversend visas. I get it. And then people Destiny, I get it. I don't want to get caught in the weeds, but can I just move past immigration really quickly because I know you don't have much time. I just want to.
Sure, you can. The frustrating thing is that when Trump talks about the border, when Republicans talk about the border, he talks about like the wall and security and enforcing the law. None of these three things would do anything for our current problems. It's about changing the asylum-seeking process. But go ahead.
That's fine. That's fine. So, one thing, obviously, I think that the institute, because I'm not a radical. I do believe in the institutions, and I think that a good movement would be to get rid of any type of affirmative action and quota system, right? And we've seen under the Biden administration that they bragged to put specific people. I'm not talking about just Ketanji Brown, who I actually don't find is dumb. I think other judges have done that. Her, she's just leftist. That's fine. But there's been a debasing of the institutions by lowering standards for people to enter to get in based on no, it's true. Don't argue with that, right? So that's one of the things that I think Trump would at least try. Have a chance
okay, and that might be an issue.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, what is one example of that?
I just said that the judges that are elevated amongst all courts, he bragged it was like 30-something% black women, which is about 6%.
Yeah, sure, but I'm asking, like, is there somebody who wasn't qualified to be a judge that became a judge?
I just said that based on you're looking. Okay, I mean, I don't know. I have to look at each individual case. I mean,
no, hold on. I'm not each individual, just one. I'm just curious if there's one example of like, wow, this person isn't qualified to be a judge.
I mean, if you've passed the bar, you're qualified to be the judge. What's your point? I mean, I'm sure that the resume is lower. I mean,
then if you are qualified for it, then who cares if they? Yeah.
Okay, whatever. I mean, we could agree to disagree. We all know the truth.
Come on, dude.
It's lower. Okay,
how can you argue that it's lower and not given? And you're saying that like. It couldn't be lower. All you have to do is pass the bar.
Are you acting like these judges were hidden figures? They were hidden behind the walls, and they didn't get it. And then you're just opening the wall for them, and 30% of the 6% population get elevated into a judgeship. Come on.
You're saying it must be the case that these. You're saying it must be the case that these black judges are, at least some of them are unqualified. That's what you're saying, right?
I'm saying is that there's.
Is that what you're saying? Yes or no?
I'm saying that there's.
Is that what you're saying? Is what I just said. What
I'm
you're saying.
sure if you're specifically looking at 6% of the population to fill voids instead of looking at the whole population, obviously. But I mean, let's just move on to a different point because
No,
everybody
I don't
knows.
want to move on because
We all know
that's crazy. So you're saying because there's 30% black judges that were nominated, at least some of them are unqualified.
I'm saying is that the best weren't chosen purely if that's the case. Are you arguing that 6% of the population?
No. We're talking about qualifications.
You want to? You know what? I'll make a stronger claim. Are you familiar with Trump's court cases?
Are you talking about the Fannie Willis case where she couldn't keep her, you know what, in her pants because she has no self-control, or she was talking about like which ones are you talking about? These judges are not impressive. We all know this.
Yeah. Can you think of any other judges? Wait. Can you think of any other judges that aren't impressive?
Sure. Judge Judy. I don't know. I mean, she's actually
Notice how it doesn't even come for a microsecond to your mind that a female judge, Judge Cannon, might be an example of a DEI pick because she's a female and because she's a judge, but it's because she gave a favorable ruling to Trump that is ubiquitously agreed upon as being a joke fucking ruling, but you don't even think about that, right? And the fact that part of that ruling was powered by another potential DEI pick, a black judge, right, Justice Thomas, but you don't even think about that as maybe he's not qualified to be a judge, right? Do you understand that when you say that these people aren't qualified, in your mind, you're just using race or gender as a proxy for people that you don't like, that do things that you don't like?
You don't think overall the concept of affirmative action hasn't watered down the quality of people in the government, institutions, et cetera, et cetera? You don't think that's true? You don't
I think that
people...
if I had that feeling, I think that I would look for an example of it. I'd be able to say at least one example of it. And I just gave you two that if I thought that DEI was destroying this country, those might be two people I would mention. But you know what? You don't think that DEI or whatever is a problem there because they give you rulings that you like and agree with. So it has nothing to do with DEI or affirmative action. That's why you can't think of a single case or a single example, except for the lady in Georgia. You can't think of a single case or example.
Clarence Thomas has, you know, the argument against Clarence Thomas is that he's written.
Actually, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. For the one in Georgia, hold on. For the one in Georgia, I'm sorry. Who was that? Is that the district attorney or the attorney general?
It's yes, Fannie Willis. She was voted in by her base.
She was voted in. So how the fuck is that even an example?
It's a culture shift.
Oh my God,
dude! I know you don't get it. You guys don't get it.
I don't get it. I'm not. I'll admit I'm not racist enough for it. I'm sorry. Help me understand, please.
Semantics. You're arguing.
It's not semantics. It's substance.
It is semantics. It is semantics. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the other things. All right. Let's move on to the other things. Right. If you like to.
Yeah,
having
sure.
zero you could say international direction when it comes down to our allies or enemies, where to put things. There's no off ramp when it comes to Ukraine. There's a lot. You're funding enemies
on domestic policy today, but I appreciate.
Okay,
it. Yeah.
No, that's fine. We can focus on domestic policy. That's fine. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, Destiny. Let me just go back to the. I'm driving right now, so I can't look up specific examples. But at the end of the day, the people that are put in power. I mean, we saw what happened to the guy who was the transgender. You know, he was a freak. He debased the office by stealing
Are all
someone's.
Transgenders freaks in your mind?
No, I don't think it's a thing, but I don't think they're freaks. I think they're mentally.
Who debased the office? Who the fuck are we even talking about?
Yeah, the one with the bald head who was stealing fucking luggage. You know what I mean? Embarrassing, right? Very embarrassing.
I guess. I'm just curious. Hold on. If you were to guess, what percentage of the bookmarks that you have on Pornhub are for trans porn?
Zero. I'm not into weird stuff.
You don't bookmark it at all? How much do you think about trans people? Do you jerk off more to like trans men or trans women? When you do like the foodist stuff, is it important that they have like a full vagina and a full cock? Or is it just like cock and balls and they've got like tits? I'm just curious, like what kind of trans porn you jerk off to all the time?
So I personally don't think that trans is the biggest issue ever, but I think it's a basis of.
It was big enough for you to bring it up just now.
I brought up an individual who debased the office because he was the first.
You know an individual debased the office? Donald fucking Trump, when he denied the results of the last election and continues to this day.
All right. I mean,
that wasn't a trans person. It wasn't a trans person who wrote the Eastman memos. It wasn't a trans person that tried to coup the government and storm the Capitol. There might have been a trans person there, but I mean, by and large, white people.
There's a lot of idiots. There's a lot of knuckle draggers that were there at J6. There were feds. I don't think that those people were freedom fighters. Okay. But at the end of the day, I do believe.
Was Jan6 an inside job?
No, I mean, what do you mean? No, J6 wasn't an inside job.
Why do you say there were feds there? What does that mean?
There's people that were directionally pushing people to do certain things because they're idiots.
Yeah, I agree with you there. There was a fed. There was a fed doing it. His name was Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, yeah.
I mean, there's other people. I mean.
Really? Name one.
You're friends with one. I don't want to get in trouble. Name names.
Who? Nick Fuentes? Who friends with who? Which one?
Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe.
You think Fuentes is a
You think
Fed?
Nick Fuentes is doing this at the direction of the federal government?
No, I think that there's people that are somewhat compromised at certain places that are pushing idiots to
Name one.
I mean, what do you mean name feds? You think they're going to expose themselves to say
You
yes?
said you knew the
yes,
name of one. That's friends
Okay.
with Steven.
You said
Who cares?
Fuentes.
Okay, there were
Is it-
people
is
that
it
wanted
Fuentes?
to. There were people that wanted to overthrow the government. Sure.
Yeah, his
They were
name is Donald
idiots, right?
Trump.
I know he essentially was. You could say he wasn't responsibly enough at that point to tell people to not to show up, but he did say peacefully protest. These are
Wait, can I
idiots.
just ask
These
you
are-
a question? Hold on. What do you
Go
think
ahead.
about the fact that he had 7 false electorate slates prepared for Mike Pence to choose to gavel him as president?
Hey, guess what? I believe in the institutions and they're strong, and he's not president. Cool. Let's move on. That's it.
What?
He
the-
tried it.
wait.
He tried it. He tried that.
Wait, so do you admit then that he tried
It
to coup
didn't
the
work.
government, but
It
he
didn't
failed? Okay,
work.
so then you admit he tried to coup the government, but it
tried.
failed.
He tried every message legal.
Wait,
someone tried to
he
kill
tried
your
to
mom.
he tried to coup the government and it failed, right?
Yes.
I think he tried every legal method. Give me one
Wait.
second. He tried every legal method he can.
Wait, no, wait, but it wasn't legal. He was telling them to break the law. That's not legal, right? That's telling somebody to break the law is not legal, right? Or would you say that's legal?
He has to do something. He has to change something.
Oh shit, he's probably. Never mind.
No, I'm not looking up anything. No, I'm not looking up anything.
I was gonna say transformed, but
okay,
it's okay.
I believe in the instant. No, Destiny. Not everybody's
Well,
porn
it's
brain
going.
like you.
I mean, like, listen,
No, wait,
North
no, I
Carolina-
don't believe that. I want to hear this. Did Donald Trump tell Pence was the goal for him to break the Electoral Count Act? That's a law. He wanted to break the law. That's not legal, right?
I think that he tried every legal argument he can, and he put pressure on Mike Pence.
What
to
is
do
the
things.
what is the
doesn't
longest?
matter.
What's the longest girl dick you would take in your ass? Just give me a number, just from 1 inches
0
to 15 inches. Just be honest. Tell me. Just be honest.
0 inch.
Okay, so you can't answer a question directly. So when Donald Trump told Pence to break the ECA, when Pence said no, and Trump said you're too honest, isn't that telling somebody to break the law?
I mean, has he been charged on that specific case?
Do you think that when Fudas come, do you think that they can get people pregnant with the Fuda cum, or like it was in a hentai, like if a Fuda girl came inside of a cis woman?
I mean, Destiny, I don't think trans is the biggest issue. I don't say babies' dicks are cut off or, you know.
Oh, okay,
like,
okay then.
the
So then
legal
when
law. I don't
Donald
say
Trump
this
tells
shit.
Pence to break the law, isn't that like breaking the law? That's not a legal option, right?
Did Mike Pence break the law?
No, he didn't. He didn't break the law.
Was
No,
he-
Pence did.
Was he charged for that? Was Donald Trump charged?
Donald Trump right now is yes, he is right now charged with that. Yes.
What is the charge? Be specific, Destiny.
Yes,
What
I
charge?
will be a conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, a conspiracy to violate rights, and a conspiracy to commit fraud against the United States, and then actual obstruction of official proceeding. All 4.
Yes.
Okay, but it didn't occur. Okay, literally the point
Wait,
is.
what are you
it
talking?
didn't-
Wait.
Oh my
What
God,
do
there
you
goes
think
that
occurred?
goalpost. Holy shit, he's running
I mean, listen,
away
I'm not a legal-
quicker than
I'm
he'd
not a
run towards
legal-
transcock.
I'm not a legal expert.
No,
okay?
hold on. Bullshit, you're not a legal expert. You're a fucking cunt. That's what you are. Who hates this fucking country? Just be honest about it.
I don't
Own
hate
it.
this country.
Own it. Own it. Just say you fucking hate
Destiny,
America.
I wouldn't
You
have had a
hate black
problem-
people. Just be
Destiny,
honest about it.
I wouldn't have had a problem if people that were breaking into the Capitol got shot. I don't give a fuck, Destiny. That's what the country I'm
Well,
gonna live
yeah,
in.
because you think half of them were feds, apparently. Why can't you
I
just
don't
admit
think-
that
I don't
Donald
think
Trump
half of
wanted
them
to
were
break the law?
feds.
Donald Trump wanted to break the law. Just say it, admit it. Yeah, Donald Trump wanted to break the law.
Donald Trump reacted stupidly.
Reacted stupidly.
Let me answer. Let me. Are you gonna let me? at
Yes,
least
we
make a
will. Yes,
sentence?
we will.
Okay. He reacted from a bunch of different circumstances. Some legal, some a little bit shady.
Illegal?
Hold on. That put himself in a really difficult position to win the election. And I will say that it's a really difficult circumstance when you have the media, Congress undermining you with the Russian collusion, all these other things. At the same time, there was a bunch of people that were watching people act extremely vile and violent. They were not getting arrested. There was people that were sick and tired.
So they broke the law. So they broke the law. They were sick and tired, so they broke the law.
Yeah, they should go to jail. I get it.
Yeah, like Donald Trump should. Trump should go to jail for breaking the law. But we understand why he did it, right?
Okay, what's your point? Hillary Clinton broke the laws. I mean, every
Wait,
fucking
really?
president breaks the law.
Wait. Which law did Hillary Clinton break?
I don't know, like moving documents and then saying, "Oh, I got caught."
Hold on, excuse me. Was she charged? Oh, wait, excuse me. I'm just using your standards. Was she charged with a crime, sir?
Being charged and not being charged are different, but that's like Trump being charged. I mean, the cases are.
Oh, wait.
Listen,
Oh, so now being charged doesn't matter. Because before it sounded like with Donald Trump, it sounded like being charged was important until you found out he was charged, and then it didn't matter. But with Hillary Clinton, I asked if she was charged, and it didn't matter because she wasn't charged, right? And with the DEI thing, it doesn't matter that Thomas is black and Cannon is a woman, but it does matter that the elected person in Georgia was black. Like, yeah, who's gonna be a judge? Like, do you understand how fucking retarded you are?
Okay.
You're on another planet of copium. It's actually insane. If there was an Olympic event for mental gymnastics, you would be a 10-year-in-a-row gold winner. You and every other MAGA dipshit.
Okay, let me be specific, okay? Since everything gets held up in Congress and nothing happens.
Nothing happens? What about all the legislation that Biden passed?
I get it.
Let him finish, Steven. What the fuck?
I get it.
Let him finish. Oh, he's already got his transport up. Go ahead. Don't let me stop you from finishing, bro. Do it.
Boxing.
There are actual cases, which includes affirmative action, that will be brought up to the Supreme Court, like that occurred.
It's already been ruled on.
Yeah, they already ruled on that, bro.
But
affirmative action is dead.
What's going to happen again, Pisco, is that they pivoted for universities, picking the holistic approach, which is a way around lowering test scores for individuals.
The Supreme Court literally says it's okay if someone individualizes their racial story as part of an essay. That was like an area that the Supreme Court explicitly left open, which makes sense in the kind of race-blind admissions that they're doing. They got rid of affirmative action. And by the way, racial-based hiring is not allowed in federal employment. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so in other words, they worked their way around the case. They're going to look at the institutions. It will be challenged again. There's a lot of things that will be challenged in court because these universities have lowered standards.
Wait, I thought you said that exploring all your legal options was good, like how Donald Trump tried to break the law. I thought it was okay then. So it's not okay for the universities to do it, but it is okay for Donald Trump to do it?
But students could also sue universities if they feel like that they're unfair admissions.
Yeah, and they did. They are. They can.
They won.
Yeah, and there's ways around it which they use, which is say that as a black man or as an Asian man or as a Jew or as whatever the fuck, I'm suffering, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Then they probably have a box. They check it in. They go, oh, this is not. Maybe if they have racially blind standards, it doesn't occur. But I mean, again, the courts matter, right? The Supreme Court matter, and that's something that Trump has control over, right? That's it. I mean, I'm not unrealistic in his powers and what he.
I agree that Trump has control over this Supreme Court, and they give him the immunity they asked for, and that by and large they kind of side with him a lot. But I don't think that that's a good thing. I don't think it's good that we have a Supreme Court that seems to give him absolute immunity. It seems to give him every, roll the dice, he gets an advantage. So I don't think that that's good. I think that that's not a basis to vote for Trump, to get more of that.
Also, wait, what state do you live in?
I live in a purple state, purple state. I don't need to get too much information.
And me.
I was just curious.
A purple state, no. Hopefully it's
what?
I was just curious if you're in one of the states that now require you to show an ID every time you masturbate to trans porn. I was just curious.
I mean, Destiny.
Stop.
Destiny. I don't really harp on the trans issues like that. I don't think it's a thing. I would prefer people to better themselves and.
And why did you mention that trans staffer who stole luggage?
Because they celebrate it as the first trans whatever, and then they debase the office with their behavior.
Well, then
and Donald Trump was the first fucking orange president, and you guys still celebrate him, even though he denies both election results, even the one that he won.
Celebrate. You're asking me why he's better than Kamala. I'm not celebrating.
You are celebrating. You're making so many excuses for this guy. You sound like a battered fucking housewife. It's insane.
Okay, I mean, Destiny, do you really think that there's a thought in Kamala Harris's brain?
More than in Donald Trump's brain?
Dude,
yeah, of course.
Have you heard Trump?
Why can't she answer? Okay, a question, Destiny. Question it. So when someone's asked, what would you do differently than in the Biden administration, right? Do you think somebody who had any Destiny, you debate, that's all you do, which you're good at it. It's fine.
You understand that Kamala Harris just had a successful appearance on Fox News, and Donald Trump self-destructed like a Palestinian terrorist when he was in front of a Bloomberg interviewer for 1 hour. It was one of the most embarrassing interviews I've ever seen in my entire fucking life.
Listen, it's a specific question. Yeah. So when somebody asked you,
no, it's not a specific question.
Okay.
He's bringing up one example of Kamala Harris stumbling through a question when Donald Trump's standard for performance is that he can speak and breathe at the same time and not die. It's fucking absurd.
It's an example of her lack of aptitude and being able to
lack of aptitude. All you do is make excuses for Donald Trump. You make excuses for everything. Why didn't he pass any legislation when he was in office? Why didn't he fix the border when he was in office? Why doesn't his last vice president run with him?
Okay, I mean, listen.
Why does the majority of his cabinet not endorse him?
You have to address Kamala Harris because she's.
Why did he lose all of his court cases?
She's running against him. I mean, the cases to be. You're obsessing about Trump. No. You're obsessing about Trump. You've not made the case for Kamala Harris at all.
I don't need to make the case. It's a two-person election. I can make it. I can say an anti-Trump case, and that's enough for me.
I know, because when you take a deep look at her, it's extremely
No. It's
unsettling.
not like that at all. So first of all, to answer your question about the interview, the specific interview question about Joe Biden, that is actually an incredibly tough question when you're the sitting vice president and you have to make some kind of differentiation with the current president. It's awkward, and the fact that she's being cagey and dodging that, and being cagey and dodging that is not a surprise. to the
Pisco, it's
politician.
not. You could literally say, no, get Pisco. You could say that, you know what, like, they complained that he didn't give enough press conferences, and I'm gonna be the most transparent.
Just to be clear, Pisco, this guy, Pisco, you have to understand, this is a guy whose last president tried to kill his vice president, and who said about the current president, J.D. Vance, he said, oh, I don't talk to him. I don't know what the said. So of course this guy's not gonna have any understanding whatsoever of how a VP and a president might interact. He has no standard whatsoever for that behavior.
So if Kamala Harris, you know what happens if she says, I'll take more press, interviews than Joe Biden? She's shitting on Joe Biden. You understand that, right? So it doesn't surprise me. It's not a question
of shitting on Joe Biden.
Yes, it is. It's saying that he doesn't have.
So sensitive.
Dude, wait, hang on a second.
So sensitive? Wait, do you acknowledge that Donald Trump is the only politician in the United States that's put in a personal request to have a tweet taken down because Trissy Kagan or whatever called him a pussy-ass bitch?
I mean, listen.
Wait. Do you acknowledge that Donald Trump is the only one that put in a request to have a tweet like that was mean like that taken down?
Trump's narcissism is flawed. I get it, but
hold on. How do you? I want tips. I want tips because sometimes when I do mushrooms, it's really difficult. How do you differentiate between the voices in your head and the ones that are actually in the external world? Can you explain how?
Oh my God.
I mean, Destiny, isn't it difficult to have a president that was having an affair with somebody 4 years older than her daddy?
You understand that the guy that you voted for was out there a porn star after his wife had given birth 4 months prior? Do you acknowledge that happened? That Donald Trump was f***ing down Stormy Daniels with his new son that was 4 months old. Do you acknowledge that happened?
I mean, listen, Trump is
listen. Do you see what he's doing? He's doing the NPC thing. I don't even know if it's a real human. It might be AI. This might be the next part of Elon Musk's thing. Like, I don't know. I don't know if this guy's a real human or not, or if he's actually psychotic, or if he's like schizophrenic. He can't respond to a single fucking question. He's unresponsive, right? If we were in a hospital right now, hold on. I'm doing the same thing. Ask me one question right now.
Okay, so isn't it unsettling that Kamala Harris was having an affair with somebody 7 years or 4 years older than her dad? Isn't that kind of disturbing, Destiny?
No, it wasn't. Shut up, Pisco. No, it wasn't disturbing because one, he had already been divorced or estranged from his wife for 10 years, and two, they were both well past 18 years old. I think Kamala was was she like 31 and he was 60? Was there a big age difference? Yeah, there was. Is it like creepy or weird? No, I don't really think so. Not that much. They were both adults.
Creepy or weird? Are you crazy?
Creepy or weird? Well, you asked me for my opinion. Now, hey, do you see how I just answered a direct question, right? And qualified it and answered it? Now, here's a question. Do you acknowledge that Donald Trump was f***ing down a porn star when his wife had just given birth to his son 4 months prior? Cheating on her.
Yeah, I do acknowledge that.
Oh, thank you. That's good.
Not great.
Cool. Good job. Good for you. We got there. My God, good job. Whoa. Big breakthrough moment right there.
Yeah, we just had Myron Gaines, but I think Myron left. It was going to be some critical support for your boxing, but
no, I don't really. I think his whole thing is off. I'm not a huge fan of what he pushes. It's fine.
He's black. He doesn't like it because he's black. It's okay. It's all good. It's okay. DEI podcaster. We know. It's all good.
No. I mean, I understand what you guys are doing.
How can you say that how can you say that it's like suspect for Kamala Harris to be dating? Was it? Oh my God! It was Brown, right?
Willie Brown.
Sorry, yeah. How can you say that's weird, but the Stormy Daniels stuff isn't weird? Or did you just admit that it is?
No, listen. He has an issue with sex and women, but it's been acknowledged. Like, nobody's arguing.
Is Trump worse?
What is Trump's worse? I just think it's a deeply flawed individual.
Is it worse or better?
I mean, I don't know what's worse or better. I mean, Trump himself has admitted these things. He hasn't had any circumstances since he ran for president. So I think he's kind of cleaned it up. Maybe he's older and has less of a.
Well, excuse me. Wait. Wasn't he just recently accused of getting sloppy toppy from Laura Loomer?
Destiny, we all know that's not serious.
Oh, really? So you think that she was on Air Force One for what? Serious debate prep?
Destiny, you don't think? I don't want to be mean to Laura because I like her. I don't want to say anything.
Are you friends with her?
No, I'm friendly with her. I'm not friends with her. It's not a big thing. I mean, he has models around. That's all I'm saying.
How old? Isn't Laura Loomer 31 years old?
It doesn't matter.
Are you saying?
Wait.
I'm not saying she's not ugly.
Isn't the age gap? Wait, just checking. The age gap between Laura Loomer and Donald Trump is larger than the age gap between Kamala Harris and.
I'm just saying that he probably would pick a model. That's all I'm saying, Destiny. Come on.
Are you saying that Laura Loomer is not attractive?
I'm just saying that he would pick. She's not a model. I'm not saying she's unattractive. I'm saying she's not a model. That's it. That's all I'm saying. It's fair.
If Donald Trump pooped his pants on stage, would that be disqualifying? Or would you vote for him?
Well, it would depend first on if there was a BLM activist outside or not, because then maybe he asked.
No, I mean,
They're that
listen,
unfair to him.
I understand. I mean, it's not a big deal. I mean, it's all fine.
Pooping your
Fuck, man! What the fuck?
Pooping his pants is a big deal. I agree. I do find it extremely concerning that Kamala Harris is not able to really have thoughts in her head, because you guys just still haven't defended her.
She beat it. She beat it. She beat Trump in the debate. You'd agree with that, right?
No.
By most people's estimation.
Wait, do you acknowledge that Kamala Harris has won more elections than Donald Trump?
I guess, what is it, 2 versus 1?
Isn't it like 4 or 5 versus 1? How many is it?
I don't know. I mean,
she was elected DA. She was elected twice for Attorney General. She was elected in the Senate, and then she was on the Biden ticket for VP.
Yeah. Okay, but what does that have to do with anything?
Were all those people tricked? She was the dumbest dipshit in California, but managed to win all these.
Destiny, she's gonna lose the election. It's not a big, like, I think the election's been over. It's been over for a long time. I think they took an honest look at her popularity, her abilities, and they said, that's why they held on so long with Biden and all these other things. She's gonna lose. She may lose the popular vote. It's not a big deal. And Democrats, listen. The Democrats have an opportunity to get rid of their DEI hiring, because it's the only reason she isn't.
Why would you say DEI hiring when she's more qualified and more successful than Trump in governance in every single conceivable way?
How is she successful? Name a policy she's done that's
when she was the DA and when she was the AG in California, she was successful enough to be reelected as the Attorney General in California.
Can you tell me something she's done?
She utilized, well, when they were having issues with children not attending school, she was using police officers to try to help kids attend. I don't know. There's like a bunch of random policies of hers I've argued with in the past. So she tried to have people that were committing felonies or whatever, that were illegal immigrants. She was more aggressive in turning them over to federal authorities. That was one thing she did that Hassan didn't like. I don't know. What does that have to do with anything? Can you name any legislation that Donald Trump passed as tax cuts? No. Like, can you name a single policy that Trump is running on right now besides tariffing everything?
Okay, well, he's going to do what he can at times. Listen.
Do what he can at times. Oh my God.
No, I mean, Destiny, it's a lot. The way that you spit a lot of words out.
Oh, okay, I'll use fewer words in simple sentence. What does Donald Trump want to do besides mass tariffs?
He wants to attempt to use every executive power he has to slow down legal and illegal immigration. I think that he was going to have some geopolitical, we're talking domestic, but I'm generally speaking, he's going to have some geopolitical direction, which would have some type of global stability, which would benefit America. As of right now, we have none right now.
What did Donald Trump do when he was president for geopolitical stability?
I don't know. He essentially put pressure on Putin, for example.
Oh, he put pressure on Putin. So did the civil war in the Donbass stop? Did the occupation of Crimea stop?
It didn't go to where it is today. I think there's no off ramp.
Why did you say it didn't go to where it is today? Do you understand that you're non-responsive? Do you understand that if you were this non-responsive in a hospital, they would harvest your organs?
I'm not sitting here with talking points that I'm confused.
You are giving me. You're literally giving me talking points. You're not even thinking about the words that you're saying.
No, I'm not. I am thinking about the words that I'm saying, right?
Okay, so my question is what did Donald Trump do about the occupation in Crimea and the civil war in the Donbass? You said that he was doing things for Ukraine and Russia. Give me one example.
Well, essentially, he put pressure on Putin with, whatever it is, whether it's economic or whatever, not to infringe upon more in which they're the Ukrainian borders, right? I think at this point right now, if you don't give a shit about human life, I think that he would have to ultimately give up a little piece of land so that the Ukrainian people don't have to suffer and die to the point that they're dying.
If all the Ukrainian people are suffering and dying, why are they still massively in favor of the war?
Oh, they kind of have pressure. They put them in jail if they don't go on the front lines.
That's why it polls well?
I don't know why it polls well. I mean, I'm not a Ukrainian. I mean,
so now we don't know anything about the Ukraine. But before we seemed to be an expert that they wanted to stop fighting. But now we have no idea.
I'm not saying the individuals want to or not want to stop fighting. I mean, at the end of the day, they have to fight. They will be thrown in jail if not. That's a fact. A lot of people are leaving. I mean,
that has nothing to do with the polling stuff. It's not responsive to the question.
Whatever. I mean, listen. At the end of the day, we all understand. No, I'm not here. I'm not sitting here with facts and things like that. We all understand that global stability was definitely better underneath Trump. That's a fact.
No, it
There's a lot
wasn't.
of-
Literally,
Yeah.
comment after there's a reason why when Donald Trump points to leaders that like him or leaders he wants to emulate, it's always authoritarian losers like Putin, like Kim Jong-un, like Orban or whatever. Like it's always these people that are these authoritarian leaders. It's never who are the democratic leaders around the world that are saying nice things about Donald Trump.
I mean, which ones do you point to and you're like, that's a really great leader, that's a democratic leader? I mean, a lot of these people are pushing, ridiculous types of legislature and you could say anti-democratic policies within their country. I'm not.
You don't get to say anti-democratic in a sentence.
I understand.
Yeah, well, okay. I have one final question because we got to wrap this up.
That's fine.
But I do appreciate Boxing you coming on. My question for you is, do you think that a white person's life, all else equal, is the same as a black person's life?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Wait, here's
Okay.
a question.
Yeah.
If you could vote for president, if you could install one as a president, you're the only vote that matters. Would you choose Kamala Harris or Putin?
Kamala Harris?
Oh, okay.
Amazing. All right. So we can
cool. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, like, how retarded do you think I am? I know you guys
Pretty retarded.
are talking about. I know, Destiny. You're just a genius. I get it. I understand. You just, it is what it is.
No, I
It's,
just wanted to agree on things at the end.
Yeah, I do
Like
agree
how
on
retarded
a
you
lot
are.
of things. I'm sure you agree. I agree with you on abortion, Destiny. Be happy. I agree with you on abortion.
If you
It's-
agree with Destiny on abortion, why do you support Trump?
Because he's not pushing for any more abortion laws. He's pro-choice.
He's gonna vote for the. He's gonna vote for the Florida amendment in when he's voting, the one that relates to the right to have an abortion in Florida.
Oh my God, I don't think that's going to pass. By the way,
They have to get 60% of the vote in Florida.
it's not going to. Yeah, it's not going to pass.
Okay.
I'm pro-choice. What are you arguing? I mean, well, listen. I would be very happy if I'm very happy the Republican Party is taking their foot off abortion because it's a retarded issue. The government's not stopping people to live Christian and holy lives and not get abortions. That's it. I don't even think it's an argument.
Well,
really
they think that it's tantamount to murder, and so
I
they're
know,
not
don't
going
do
to.
it
They're
then.
not
Don't
going to
do it
stop.
then. Don't kill a baby then.
You
Yeah, I
would
get
never
it.
say like, okay, just don't murder me, murder your own like family or whatever. I mean, and that's why they're not going to stop, and that's why it's kind of.
I understand.
You can't have a position on abortion that it's like tantamount to murder, and then explain why it shouldn't nationwide be banned.
I understand. I get it. But I don't argue that. I get it. Listen, at the end, really, what it comes down to for me personally, immigration, and there are geopolitical issues, and I think that those are the most important things. That I do think Trump is better than Kamala. And again, I'm looking at Kamala. I'm not looking at Bill Clinton from the '90s. I'm not even looking at a young fucking Joe Biden. We have to assess what's in front of us, right?
Yeah,
And
what's in front of us? What's in front of us ultimately is what's going to be there on Election Day, and I think that the record speaks for itself. And yeah, thank you for your perspective, and thanks everyone for joining us, Stephen. I appreciate you, and I understand that you're upsetty spaghetti a little bit at what just happened, but
No,
I think it's good for us to.
I think it's great.
Okay, I just want to make sure that you're not too black-pilled on your communities and on conservatives in general.
No, I think these guys are amazing.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone. We'll probably be back next week for another one focusing more on foreign issues. But again, if you are anyone who wants to engage with us or give us your best argument on Trump versus Kamala, stay tuned and yeah, be around next week at around 2 o'clock Saturday. Thanks, guys.
Love you.